the trio is complete. Welcome to this final edition of the month of August here at Breakfast Central. Well, thank you for joining us all through the month, all through the year. It's the 8th month of the year, and we're inching in the next couple hours. We're getting to September. I think we should give our viewers a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you so much.
We deserve a round of applause.
Yes.
Good morning, Joe.
Good morning, Benga. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Well,
thanks for asking. And sister here, she should go and collect her good morning in Enugu. She's even dressed like her fellow lawyer.
She's ready. What does the law say about not saying good morning to your neighbor?
Well, thankfully, greeting is not binding. Okay. It's not legal. Neither is it.
It's voluntary.
It's voluntary.
Okay,
You cannot force
let me
to
just
greet.
manage to give you a good morning. It's a sliding handshake.
So that means if you come on the show, I don't need to greet you or greet our viewers.
Exactly.
No, greet our viewers.
Have you guys seen that video? I think it was Namibia or some Southern African country. The uncle had a quarrel. I think it was outside.
I said,
no, you can't do that here.
She said, I'm going to do that.
They took their personal,
they took it on
very
set.
unprofessional.
He said, you don't have to do that here. She was asking her colleague the question, and it was a...
Benga, you know what I'm thinking, right?
Yes. Okay, we have a history.
Yeah, we'll talk
not both of us.
Somebody else.
At least I'm not part of that
welcome to Breakfast Central.
Yeah.
I am Olive MOD.
And I'm Joe Hansen. Thanks to all our viewers who joined us on YouTube yesterday. We just need to announce that you can go on YouTube. We're streaming live as well. Drop a comment or two on some of the stories we're going to be reeling out to you, and let us know what you think about that as well.
And I'm Benga Borough. I must say, Nigerians are very polite people. As I was driving out of my estate this morning, the security guy said, happy last Friday. I had to give him some money to appreciate his effort. So polite, he was even specific. Happy last Friday of the month.
Last Friday.
Last Friday.
You know why he's greeting you that?
Not just happy Friday or happy weekend, happy last. He had to be calendar specific.
That's creative.
Very creative. I had to give him something.
And it's an important reminder that his salary week. So last Friday means, Oga, I know, say you don't collect. Or you go soon.
No, I'm not the one that we pay estate dues now. The estate will pay him.
No, so that you can give me something for the road.
Show him love.
Show me love. Do
I
weekend.
did show him love. But do you know, you can't give 500 naira tips anymore. Have you gotten to that level yet?
I don't know. You're a rich kid.
I must be honest with you.
baby speaking.
No.
I must be honest with you. I thought about that some weeks ago. When I brought up 500, I was like, 500.
The minimum is now 1,000.
Yeah, it's now the 1K is a new 500. 500 is a new 100 naira. Facts. If you don't agree,
we now have minimum.
And then it depends on where you're going to. For example, there's let me not give them advert. There's a club where we used to work in.
I don't know such.
Very close, a nightclub, a discotheque.
I don't really know those kind of
places. You say you
places.
can't give those bouncers. I gave one of the bouncers 1K. He looked at him like this.
Bouncy on your 1K.
I mean, they give 1K.
Wow, I love that.
Yes.
Because I'm still going to give you 1K. If should I have gone there, I'll give you that 1K.
Yeah.
If you don't take it, it's my money.
You go to nightclubs?
Exactly.
No, I don't.
There's a sense of entitlement. Or he has passed that stage.
The moral of the story is leave nightclub alone, so that they will not be eyeing you and your 1,000 naira.
This is my argument. If you don't go there, the millions of the thousands of cleaners that are working there.
How do they get paid?
How would they get paid? I mean, these are some of the things you have to
Why don't you go to prison so that the cleaners and the cooks in prison can get paid?
They committed crime now. You pay the
No, because they have staff.
Pay the crime, you do
the time.
Do the time. Yes,
there are staff there too that need to be paid.
Government will pay them.
Well.
They're under federal government.
Anyway, Makoye has joined us this morning. He says good morning to you guys.
Good morning,
thanks for always waking up with us. It feels really good to know that you're there with us.
One day we should invite you to the studio.
Yeah, I don't know if you... I mean, we're going to get into our wake-up conversations pretty soon, but before then, I don't know if you've been following this story. There was this story that was trending yesterday that the National Assembly has enacted the 2025 Cybercrime Act, and every single person, celebrities, everyone, ran with it. If care is not taken,
fake news.
So apparently it's not true. It's
of
not.
Of course, they are on recess.
That's one. That's one.
They've been on a 6-week recess.
And then secondly, the president just signed the amended bill. It's 2015, but it was amended in 2024. And that was signed last year, sometime in February. So the story went around, and then everybody started saying, if you're on WhatsApp, be careful. They're going to screen grab your chats. A few respected, in quotes, people, but also sharing the stories and so on. But I mean, it's something we need to get into. Possibly also remind Nigerians that it's not every single story you get or you hear that you run with.
The more reason why they should watch The Proof on News Central.
Oh yeah, that's true. The proof,
right.
the proof.
The Proof on News Central. So are we ready to get into wake-up conversations?
Okay. Let's start. Let's talk about a governor.
Let's begin what we came here
Let's start
to do.
what
we came here to do.
The governor, what governor this time? Are you talking about the farmer governor?
Yes, yes, the farmer governor. By the way,
governor.
he paid a visit to number one citizen, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who's back into the country. There are pictures circulating where many have said, oh, he's such a humble governor.
Respectful.
Respectful. It's so condescending.
No, condescending is not the word. Condescending will be disrespectful.
Will be negative.
Like negative.
Yeah.
So maybe he's, I think we should use humble.
Yeah. So humble and meek.
Meek like Meek Mill.
Let's why that word was used is because if you go to the comment section, Nigerians are saying that, is this not the same person who said what we're about to mention now? Okay. This video you see here shows the governor, Governor Bago, speaking and telling residents that even if he sells Niger State to fund projects, it is none of their business. Let's watch the video. Just take a look.
Ni ma kai na samu shugaban kasar ce hanyar maji har me ni ma a ban min na so to sun jin siyar da Niger ma samu kudin gina Niger na ruwan wani nake ciwon kai wani ke sha mun panadol bari ran da zan bar kujeran gwamna rai da lafiya bayan shekara na 8 a gwamna a lokacin zan kawo certificate da ta jihar ne ga abin da na same ku ga abin da na ban muku don ba zan ku da bashi Allahu Akbar to saboda haka an damu an ci bashi to ba ma fara ci yanzu a fara ci wanda aka ci da ya kai da shi a ce makarantu ba su da kyau mu muka bata ko muna gyarawa ne asibitai ba su da kyau mu muka bata ko muna gyarawa.
So the gist of it is this, I didn't want the translation. I could pick up from my elementary house that, look, critics are complaining that you're taking too many loans. And I said, look, you are not supposed to even take Panadol for another man's headache. That even if I sell the entire Niger to fund projects, is not your business. And we've seen this pattern from the former governor Bago. I wonder, even Niger State that produced military generals, two heads of state, General Abdulsalam Abubakar and Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, they are not this dismissive, they are not this dictatorial. He has dictatorial tendencies. He shut down a radio station. He didn't have the power to do that. He threatened and gave instruction that they should cut off the dreadlocks on the heads of young people, made that statement. He later reversed it. And then we're coming back today. He's so dismissive
of it because there was a public backlash. Yes.
And, he has this pattern and then this current one. Does he understand that he's in a democratic setting and people have a right to criticize government policy and not necessarily him? And even the citizens have a right to criticize him. But why does he have this military-like posture on things?
He's only humble when it's time to see the president. As you can see, I don't know if we have the pictures of him.
And it's just in his first term.
Meeting the president and
imagine what he will do in his second term.
Yeah, he met the president, acting so subservient. This is the same governor that shut down a radio station in Niger State because he said that they were making insightful statements, and he said they were going to there were so many allegations of him saying that he would bring down the building. This is the same governor who did not have the right to shut down the radio station. If you felt that the radio station was stepping outside of there's an organization called the NBC. So it would seem that the Niger State governor can be sometimes a little bit careless with words and actions, because that may have been a statement made as a jest. But again, public service holders must realize that everything you say in public will be taken seriously, even when you make a joke. So you must be very careful. There are certain jokes that should not go beyond the boundaries of your parlor, your living room. these jokes should end there. But when you go in public, especially because he's had one too many backlash in the past few months, he needs to be extra careful. He is answerable to the people. As a governor, you cannot say that they are drinking Panadol for another man's headache. You are answerable to the citizens. They employed you. You did not put yourself there.
I think there's this self-entitlement thing, especially when it comes with politicians, that we see way too often times, especially here in Nigeria, where a politician feels that when it's time for, it's common, when it's time for the elections or so on, they become so humble. That's when they go to the streets, they buy agbado, they buy corn. That's when they eat corn on the road. They become hairdressers.
They become NEPA official, fixing lights.
Let me use our plaiting hair. Let me plait here. They go ahead, they go to city mama put and say, give me pomo there, and they give people knuckle and they laugh.
Religiously tolerant, go to the opposite,
go to churches, they dance and do all of that. But the moment they step into power or they get into power, it's shut down. Like a popular comedian would say, shut down. It's a shutdown.
Power corrupts, absolutely. Power corrupts, absolutely.
That's it.
Again, it's because as a people, we haven't learned to treat politicians in the way that they should be treated, not in a manner that is disrespectful, but making them realize that we put them in office. Like, they do not put themselves in office, and we must hold them to account.
Understanding the rights of the office of the citizen.
That the office of the citizen should be the highest office in the land.
I mean, if the producers are listening, I think it's a good conversation we should have. Maybe spend at least 30 minutes there, have a few persons join us. Nigerians need to understand. And
understand the roles and differences between subnationals. The trash in front of your house has not been taken. It's President Tinubu's fault. So they need a re-education and orientation. Because these governors are getting away with literal murder.
The driver who stripped is not the president's fault. The driver was seen stripping, going naked because he was stopped and attacking VIO. Is that the president's fault? And people were shouting, look at president. That's not the president's fault.
Yeah, so we need to understand how the system works. But again, because of the structure of the 1999 Constitution, a lot of power is still concentrated in the center and the resources. That's why you have to see, imagine a governor, Gavin Newsom, or a governor in the United States of America doing that to
Coming
Donald
to
Trump.
say that,
I mean, just greeting Donald Trump in the manner Governor Bago was. I'm not saying you shouldn't be respectful.
I think also that there's a huge influence that our culture and tradition as a Nigerian people have to do with the way we do business and the way that we do politics. Here in Nigeria, we believe as Africans in respect, we believe that we should respect our elders. What we don't realize is that in the place of office, there's a certain respect that is given to the office, not necessarily about the person occupying the office, but there's a certain respect that the person occupying the office has to give back to the people, and that respect is demonstrated in accountability and just being mindful of your actions and your utterances.
I think Benga has also highlighted it, just to put a little spice on it, is that there's so much power concentrated to especially those who are in office. They have so much power, and because of these powers that they do possess, it goes beyond them just speaking to the people who put them there, but of course they tend to assume a position that sees them become lord and master. And like you rightly said, Olive, as well, that statement is not your business. It is the people's business.
Exactly.
I think we need to make it clear.
I mean, you're in a democracy.
It is the people's business. I would want to take this on a lighter note that maybe he was just cracking jokes, because I could hear people laughing. People are laughing and laughing and so on. But he needs to be very mindful. I mean, we're just saying this because I remember a few months ago, I saw some projects he put up, and I was like, this is very good. Because then I was starting to say, if you see Governor Bago and then you see Governor of Borno State, Professor Zulum, I mean, these are people who I was looking up to in terms of the work rate, in terms of ensuring that they put in the work, especially for the people. And it wasn't bad. But there he is. I mean, he did meet with the president. I think this was yesterday or so. And there was a lot of criticism of him, sitting down.
He knelt down. He wasn't sitting down. The video showed him first kneeling down to shake the president.
And then later on, people said,
Governor El-Rufai used to do it too with former President Buhari.
Yeah, Buhari.
To be honest, I don't really care. If you like, kneel down, lie down, greet however you want to greet. That's your own personal preference. Nobody forced you.
I mean,
I don't have a problem with that. My own is, as you're respecting the president, you must also respect your employers. Your employers are the citizens of the country.
I think the question we should look at, and we should spend more time, in addition to what being as highlighted, which is the role of, you did mention the role of the people.
The office of
the citizens. It's
I
the highest office in the land.
And then, do you think that the political class view the people of Nigeria as their employers?
They like them during elections, and after that, they feel, you give them tidbits, and
we also have a role to play. We must be honest that we have a role to play. We haven't 100% held them to account. We've acted like the politicians and those in public office are doing us a favor. We haven't held them to account. Maybe in some cases because there's a high level of poverty and a high level of uninformed people, many people who don't really understand the influence that they wield as citizens of the country. But anyway, let's move on.
One of the reasons why this culture permeates in Nigeria is because when they do government projects, they slap their names on these projects. And there's not a lot of Nigerians media savvy or educated to a level to even understand that, look, these funds, you commission a borehole project or you commission block of classrooms and you name it after your fellow politicians. They think there are people in this 2025 that think that money was from their politicians'
pocket. It's not.
And not
it's people's money. It's taxpayers' money.
But okay, maybe we're the ones making noise about this. Maybe it's not such a big deal. So our producers will now go to X and curate or collate tweets. Okay, great.
Yeah. Chinedu Okeke says, if you know anything about Niger State, you will understand that this man bought his way into that set. I don't know about that, though. I remember when he was dashing people bike that year just to get people's votes.
Okay.
Anyway, madness. How can he over-borrow only to fund projects and lose the state to borrowers? Ooh. It really shows how insensitive these opportunists are. They leverage politics to take draconian decisions only to hold the people hostage while they cash out. The worst part is the effrontery of telling it to their faces with no remorse or excuse for their decisions. The reason why people should scrutinize those they put or nominate to represent them. Deep thoughts. It's something we've also shared here, which is just basic truth. Idara Esang says, I hear he's doing some productive things in farming and other areas, but he should know that he's an employee. Ooh, there you go. Of the citizens hired to administer the enterprise of the state, and they can fire him duly if they choose. Nigerian citizens need their power assured against government. Gbenga, I think that sums up pretty much what we've talked about. You want to take this one?
Now let's take this tweet from Onome Aganga Media. She says, just imagine the very person elected to serve and protect his people now turning around to threaten them. Interesting one there. Tomori G says, if you know how much he paid to get elected, you'd understand he hasn't started borrowing yet. LOL.
Wow. Anyway, I think the points are indeed clear. It's obvious. And aside from what we've said here, it also shows that a cross-section of Nigerians on the social media space are equally starting to feel that same way as well in terms of his remarks.
And someone also highlighted what you mentioned earlier, that, I mean, he's a performing governor. He's doing well in terms of agriculture and other areas, but his utterances need to be measured and he just needs
a media advisor, an active media advisor that can help him and ensure that he always has speeches and tells them, oh, God,
you think media advisors and aides of this executives, I mean, it depends on who your principal is. The people that take criticism and open advice well, and there are those that would look at you and say, oh, God, you are speaking too much English. Who are you to advise me? I just put you in office to allow you earn something to help
your life
and just have a title. You are not supposed to speak the truth to my face. Yeah.
Okay.
Like imagine a Trump now. You want to advise Trump.
Trump
that says he knows about grass more than any other person in this world because of his golf courses. And he knows about many other things more than anybody in this world.
To go and listen to Trump.
It's egos.
Guess what you need?
What?
A passport. And guess what has happened to our passport? The price of purchasing, will I call it purchasing? Of getting your Nigerian passport is going up. What goes up and never comes down? Things in Nigeria.
What?
So Now,
Hey, my passport is going to expire this year.
I want to actually find out if I can just quickly renew today
this can't
before
be
we
true.
get into the new rate. So apparently the 32-page passport as well as the 64-page passport has been increased. 32-page passport with 5-year validity has been increased to 100,000 naira, and the 64-page passport with 10-year validity has been increased to 200,000 naira. Now this has again dragged and brought about sharp criticism from individuals and even public office holders, because you look at the current rate of what Nigeria's minimum wage is, and what this tells you is that if any average Nigerian needs to get a passport, they will need to work for 2 months to be able to afford the cheapest passport in
and
Nigeria.
not, they wouldn't take one
and they will
naira
not,
out of that.
they'll take a little, maybe 30 naira more. So the minimum wage being 70,000 naira, they work for 2 months, 140,000 naira.
transport?
They remove 40k and then use the 100,000 to get their passport.
40k will take off somebody for 1 month.
For 2 months, because they have to gather their salary for 2 months.
The last time I checked, the last time manna dropped from heaven was during biblical times. So are they going to feed on, which manna are they going to feed on?
I agree. And the reactions are more. Yes, The Guardian also reported this story, and other newspapers.
All the front pages of the newspapers
stating that
have it.
it's effective from
1st
September
of September,
1.
yes.
And it's 100% increase. It's not that it's small.
I mean,
So from 50,000 to 100,000, and then from 100,000
So let's do from
to
before
200,000.
September.
Okay,
so before September 24th, 2024, 32-page 5-year passport was 35,000 naira. 64-page 10-year passport was 70,000 naira. Then from September 1st, 2024, it then increased to 50,000 naira for the 32-page 5-year passport, 200,000 naira for 64-page 10-year passport. And now from September 1st, 2025, it will be 100,000 naira for the 32-page 5-year passport and 200,000 naira for the 64-page 10-year passport, meaning it's increased
100%.
twice in the
100%.
past 2 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think going
in the past
forward,
1 year.
looking at this new prices, the only passport I'll stick to is passport photograph. This is very expensive. Where am I going to? And my mom is from Togo, so I mean, I would start working towards getting a Togolese passport.
It's very key. I think you should. I think you should. I mean, there's nothing wrong in being a dual citizen. However, my problem with this is that from 2023, since the current administration, assumed or resumed office, we've seen prices of every single thing go up. From fuel, and experts had warned that the moment you have this fuel price going up, it's going to, one way or the other, trickle down and affect every single commodity or business, whether it is from the private or it's from the government sector. And this is why, and we're starting to see it. Aside that, when will Nigerians really catch a break?
Because
it's too much.
Because it's one thing after every other week. There's an increment somewhere. And in fairness to the Interior Minister, Mr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, who they call the Star Boy Minister, he's a performer. He's reformed the immigration services, prisons. He's done quite a lot, and has modernized our airports. Immigration, you could scan and just go through your check-in process. But I would say the cost of production too is increasing. We're using smart passports, biometrics, and I'm sure the cost of producing that too can't just
we agree it's
taken by the
increasing, but
government.
100% increase is way too much.
So
it's way too much. And there should be, and I'm sorry to butt in, but I also feel that there should be proper timing given to every
The
single
reason why
passport
they
carrier.
made it such a short window is passport office will be inundated with processes, with applications today to beat the September 1st deadline.
And they would never get it. A lot of people won't get it. Because look at
So that's why they didn't give the time
paid
frame.
for it, I don't think that whether or not you get it eventually.
They won't even get the opportunity to pay for it.
You think
So the question now is why are we as a nation having to see our passport increase 3 times within a 2-year time frame? Does this then tell us in the next 2 years to experience or expect more increases?
The best
That's
insurance
one.
is...
2, why should our passport cost more than our minimum wage? We are in a way pricing certain categories of people out of international opportunities. A passport is not a luxury. A passport is your identity as a Nigerian. It's like me having my ID card as a staff here of News Central. It's important for every Nigerian to own their passport. That's what tells you and tells everyone around you that you're Nigerian. That's what facilitates mobility within, outside the country for many things you want to do, like opening your bank account, many important things you need to do. You need your passport. It's your identity. It's not a luxury. And the average Nigerian should be able to afford a passport.
Imagine your work ID card.
I absolutely agree with Olive. And if you have to subsidize it, please subsidize it.
Absolutely.
You're increasing VAT, you're taxing people, you've taken off subsidy. Why can't Nigerians catch a break? So what's the benefit of being in Nigeria? What are you enjoying?
And I haven't renewed my passport ever since
if you're going to be paying for your ID card.
The reforms in the immigration have taken place. I haven't renewed my passport, so I'm not quite sure. But what I know was the practice before now is there's the official rate, then there's the rate that the middlemen use to facilitate and fast track all of that. I don't know if that's still the current position. But imagine that people are paying 100, 200, and then there's still
you haven't even started applying for visas. That one too
that has gone up as well. Because the United States has gone up, Canada gone up. So where do you start?
The guys that will be smiling now are the guys that did like the 10-year validity.
I wish I did.
I hate that I did 5 years.
I wish I did.
I think I'll just do 10
but this is
Me too, I've been 10 years.
Whether we like it or not, if we use the ID card analogy, we can also highlight the fact that if your ID card is starting to become much more expensive than your salary, then there's a problem.
There's a problem somewhere.
So if an average Nigerian earns 70,000, like you've highlighted, and then the passport is 100,000 naira, how many Nigerians will be able to afford a passport? It simply means that when it comes to registration of either documentations and so on, where they say provide your passport, you would have to go for a national. Now, this is where I also have a problem. You are increasing the price of the Nigerian passport. There's also requests that people should have a renewed NIN. There's TIN. There's so many processes lined up.
Multiplicity of data,
multiplicity here and there, registration, just to identify who. Then there's also the call for social security and national security identity, where they are saying, oh, there will be a new ID card that looks like your ATM card. How many things are we going to pay for?
And what are Nigerians benefiting from this? All this thing.
Absolutely nothing, because last time I checked.
I agree with Olive. This is not sustainable. The government has to do a rethink of this, and you can't increase twice in 2 years. It's absurd. And then the just basic narration that your passport should not be more expensive than your minimum wage. It's not done anywhere. If the government has to subsidize
it doesn't add up.
Let's see what Nigerians feel about this. Maybe we are the only ones that this thing is affected, and there are other people who find it understandable. Well, Abuja media says people are feeling hardship in the country in droves, yet the government that's caused this family displacement still wants to profit from it. No propaganda can whitewash this present government. At this point, all we ask for are free and fair elections.
That last line there. Well, anyway.
And then this one says, so if I want to renew my passport, I now have to sell a goat, a generator, and maybe my left shoe. 100,000 naira for 32 pages. At that price, the passport should come with VIP airport access, jollof rice on arrival, and maybe a Spotify subscription. I agree with you. What exactly are we paying for here? Gold-plated paper or front row seats at immigration?
You know, after paying this 100K, all those immigration officials that just stamp
anyhow,
I would draw I'll use ruler to draw, please, sir. Can you just manage this corner?
I think even if you're a frequent traveler, another idea would also be to get the ECOWAS passport, so that if you're going within West African countries, you can use that one to stamp.
Very key.
This new schedule of fees for a Nigerian passport is very insensitive. We agree. We shouldn't be using our passport as a mechanism for revenue generation in an economy where the common man is just trying to hang on.
This is my Which Way Nigeria for Monday.
Tinubu refused to fix the economy, and now he's making it difficult for Nigerians to jackpot to a healthier environment where they can thrive. Is this not dictatorship? Chinemelu Ma says. This short post is for the attention of all Nigerians and also for the attention of the Honorable Minister. Please kindly help share until he gets to his office. To his notice, let's do some analysis.
I like this.
To get a USA passport, it costs $165. For someone on minimum wage in the US, which is $7.25 per hour, they earn about $1,160 a month if they do only one job, 8 hours a day, or 5 days a week. What is my point here? Even someone on minimum wage in the US will effortlessly afford an American passport if they are interested. To get a UK passport, it costs £82.50 if done online, or £100 if done on paper for someone on minimum wage in the UK, £12.21 per hour. For 20-year-olds, they earn about £1,953 a month if they do only one job 8 hours a day for 5 days a week. What is my point here? Even someone on minimum wage in the UK will effortlessly afford a British passport if they are interested. Now come to Nigeria. With the latest announcement from the Nigerian Immigration Service, it will cost 100,000 naira to get the 32-page international passport or 200,000 naira to get the 64-page one. In Nigeria today, the minimum wage is 70,000 naira. The vast majority of employers, including state governments and private companies, do not pay this minimum wage. And even if they did, what's my point here? If someone is on minimum wage in Nigeria, they will never be able to effortlessly afford a Nigerian passport if they are interested, full stop. Oh, it continues. He says, the last time I did my Nigerian passport, I came online to praise the Nigerian Immigration Service and also the Minister, Olubunmi Tunjiojo. His hard work has no doubt been duly recognized by many Nigerians, both home and abroad. However, on the recent increase in the application and processing fees for international passport for Nigerians living in Nigeria, I think the minister should review and reverse this increase. The application and possession of an international passport must never ever be a luxury that a common man cannot afford if they were to be interested. It's a huge aberration and a terrible anomaly, in my personal opinion, that a minimum wage earner should be unable to afford to apply for an international passport. This is an appeal and a public request. Please kindly review these prices downwards for Nigerians. The hardship and horror of life in Nigeria is terrible enough for Nigerians living in Nigeria. Please, kindly let us not add more to it. Well,
this is sad.
I think this just sums up.
But it's sad.
All
and
that
I want to say
saying.
thank you to that tweet. Breaking it down using the same SANA claims that Nigeria uses as a yardstick, which is the UK and the United States. And the United States, like we always say, seems to be seen as a citadel for democracy. But look at what it's done in terms of pricing. If you compare the pricing and that of Nigeria, it makes no sense.
It shouldn't be priced out of the reach of many
It doesn't. You've priced
Nigerians.
everybody out of opportunities, out of chances, out of... I mean, anybody who... we've seen videos where people have traveled for the first time. What did they go to? They just entered, they just boarded the plane for the first time from Nigeria to Ghana. And look at the happiness on their faces. Now, anybody who comes from maybe a low background, a poor background, who has worked his way up, and is being told, okay, let me take you to Ghana or visit Ghana, that person would have to work so hard to get passports and so on.
It's terrible.
It's terrible. It's really terrible. And truly, I agree with
Let's
the
hope
tweet.
The government will reverse this decision and review.
Yeah. Amen is all I can say.
We hope it should be reviewed, and we hope that meaningful Nigerians also get to share. Sometimes I wonder, as we wrap up, maybe those at the top, do they think that Nigerians have money?
I think they're insulated
are they in tune with reality?
I mean, everything is paid for. They're generated, the recharge card, everything. They don't.
Cable TV, fuel, everything is paid for.
You won't blame them if they're living in an
with...
alternative reality.
You know what?
Because they're not in traffic. Everything is paid for.
You know what?
I mean, look at somebody.
Do you know
like
the price of milk and bread?
Rotimi Amechi was in government for almost 24 years, if I'm not mistaken. From his time as a member of the River State House of Assembly till his 2 terms as Minister of Transportation, Governor, you know, and he would never use his own personal money for.
Well, he said Nigerians are suffering.
Yes.
Well, he's the one that said that we are all suffering, including him. What you should do is, as you're doing Which Way Nigeria on this, also highlight some of the increases that have happened in 2025 alone.
Telecoms,
everything that has increased this year.
Power
I've realized that I start using data. I don't just use 210 gig. Before I would use 120 gig a month. Now, 210 gig lasts for just 2 weeks. Like they are using pipe to suck our data. It is well.
No wonder everybody's angry.
Anyway, let's share what our top stories this morning are on Breakfast Central.
It's something else.
Back to unverified Cybercrime Act. And ahead of River State local government polls, we'll be bringing you the update. It's scheduled to happen tomorrow in River State. And we have our correspondents live for us in River State. Concerns rise over new variant of polio virus, not again. And we'll be looking at securing Africa as we bring you the updates in that regard of a summit that has been holding in Abuja. And the newspaper front pages will be reviewed this morning with us and with you. Join us.
The maiden African Chiefs of Defense Staff Summit has ended in the nation's capital, Abuja, with a strong call for collaboration, technology adoption, and political will to address the continent's security challenges. Over 3 days, Africa's defense chiefs, policymakers, and security experts discuss strategies to combat terrorism, piracy, cyber warfare, and other threats to regional peace. News Central's Sagir Ibrahim reports.
The summit brought together military leaders from across Africa to reaffirm a collective resolve that unity, technology, and innovation remain central to securing the continent's future. In his closing speech, Nigeria's Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, underscored that Africa's destiny lies in the collaboration and homegrown solutions.
We have recognized that our strongest defense is strategic collaboration. This summit has been a declaration of Africa's determination to take ownership of its peace, stability, and future. Our greatest weapon is our unity. Let's continue to harness this unity to build a safer, more secure Africa.
On the sidelines, defense representatives from Liberia and Zambia told News Central that it is time for Africa to move beyond dialogue and take decisive action.
The collaboration that is needed between African defense forces, and this initiative, I think, was the best so far, and I just hope that it will continue.
It's now time that the various CDSs must go back home and meet the political elite, have a conversation with them, and then they will send a communique back to our fellow countries. We'll come on another date that we'll have this summit. And we all agree that this summit should be done annually, and that's the most important thing.
Beyond military strategies, experts stressed that adopting artificial intelligence and digital innovation must be matched with political will.
I would like to see us more proactive and less on the reactive side from the utilization of artificial intelligence. I would like to see practical next steps in respect to addressing the issue of data accessibility.
Political will has to be behind anything we do for it to succeed. Trying to do anything by yourself based on borderlines will not allow solutions to have a proper impact that they can immediately and lastingly for the continent.
And so went 3 days of intensive conversation between Africa's defense chief with an intention to address Africa's long-standing security challenges. And like the Chief of Defense Staff mentioned, it is now time for action. From the Bola Ahmed Tinubu International Conference Center in Abuja for News Central, Sagir Ibrahim.
And congratulations to the Nigerian Chief of Defense Staff, General C.G. Musa, for his successful hosting of the maiden edition of the African Defense Chiefs Summit that just concluded in the nation's capital, Abuja. Like the saying goes, if your neighbor's house is on fire, you can't go to sleep. So they highlighted collaborative efforts in terms of cooperation with in the security sector on the African continent. And from the responses we got from that summit so far, is people are calling for it to be done yearly, so as to compare notes and collaborate, which is absolutely the way forward. What do you think, Olive?
Right. I mean, also we must highlight a very key factor here, which is the use of technology. Whilst you're collaborating, they must also adopt technology in the fight against insecurity. We must secure the continent. We cannot but keep up with the times, and global best practices, it employs the use of technology. So kudos and well done to these valiant fighters and these people who constantly put themselves in the front row and put their lives on the line, risking everything to secure us in whatever way possible. We're going to break, and when we come back, we have more conversations this morning with you on Breakfast Central. The National Economic Council has expressed worry over the emergence of a vaccine-resistant polio virus found in the northwest region of the country. These formed part of deliberations raised by the council during the meeting attended by state governors and key economic managers, deliberating on strategies aimed at stabilizing Nigeria's economy amidst rising inflation, dwindling revenue, and pressing security challenges. State House correspondent Bettina Mweli brings us this report.
President Kashim Shettima. According to the governor of Gombe State, Inuwa Yahaya, who was in attendance, Nigeria is recording notable gains in its renewed push against polio, but the emergence of a vaccine-resistant variant in the northwest continues to raise concerns.
The progress so far made has shown that epidemiological data is on a downward trend from about 78 cases in 2024 as at the 33rd week, which is the week of our last meeting in August. Now it has gone down to 42 cases.
During the meeting, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy gave an update on the excess crude account, the stabilization account, and the natural resources account. Also discussed was the expiration date of the Nigerian Medium-Term National Development Plan 2021 to 2025 and preparation of a successive plan, the Nigerian Medium-Term National Development Plan 2026 to 2030.
And even the tax reforms and other, so regrettably those actions were not taken, partly because of the recovery from COVID and maybe other considerations, and therefore the anticipated result, a 7% rate of growth, was not achieved.
First, excess crude account, we stood at $535,823.39. Second is the stabilization account, we stood at $78,453,757,583.19. The third account that was presented was the natural resources account. We stood at $106,727,969,527.59. Thank you very much.
As discussions move from the council chambers to implementation, Nigerians will be watching closely to see how these resolutions translate into real improvements in governance and daily living. In Abuja, for News Central, Bettina.
Thank you very much, Bettina, for bringing us updates from the State House. And now we'll be moving to another story. We're looking at Nigeria's National Assembly passing, allegedly, I mean, there was information, I'm sure that Joe would run us through that. Yesterday, social media was agog with reactions from news about Nigeria's National Assembly passing the Cybercrime Act. Joe, do you want to take that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a story that did come out yesterday. It was indeed trending. A few persons also put out the post stating that there's a new Cybercrime Act 2025. And the Cybercrime Act has a lot in store, that it would affect those on WhatsApp. If you put up fake posts on WhatsApp, you would spend 5 years in prison, and so on and so forth. It went as far as, you know, these informations were being circulated online.
Classified government information up to 15 years, tampering or deleting data.
Absolutely.
Up to 5 years in recording private conversations without consent. 2 years, publish fake news or inciting ethnic hatred. You know, somebody on social media must have been bored. Or just thought, you know, nothing has been coming out of the National Assembly since they've been on recess. So let me create something that would generate traffic and conversation, and that, you know, give it a semblance of legitimacy, and, you know, decided to put out this information, which is not verified out there, which has elicited a lot of conversations. Because, you know, Nigerians have, social media has been in the forefront of conversations lately, talking about responsible use of social media. There's been a lot of stories on fake news, and people have called for the regulation of it. But this is absolutely not true or not verified, and which has led to a bigger conversation on netizens. The current Cybercrime Act that we have, does it cover everything, or do we need more laws to make it stringent and tighter so we'll have more responsible use of social media? I believe one of the governors said, or was it a minister that said social media is like terrorism or something.
Yeah, you did have a member
seen a lot of them
the
push
House of
back on
Assembly.
that.
Oh, yes,
yeah,
yes.
a member of the House of
deputy
Assembly.
Senate, no,
yeah,
no, deputy Senate
yes,
president.
talked about that.
Spokesperson.
But then again, the Minister of Information was also, while he welcomed a few representatives from the United States and other countries as well during a meeting or a ceremony, there he had said that he would ensure that information processes and so on is not clamped down. In other words, gagging the media will not be at the forefront. Of course, it's not going to be at the forefront of the Cybercrime Act 2014. But just to put it in clear context, the rumors flying around town that, oh, there's a new one, 2025, a new Cybercrime Act 2025 has been pushed, has been enacted. It's not true.
And it's because of rumors like this that they will now enact it for real. Is that not what you want?
It's not true. So we just need to ensure that we paint the picture and make it clear to Nigerians. However, the 2014, yes, 2014, it was initially, signed into law in 2024 by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. However, that's the amended one, the amended laws. However, it has a few things that were equally highlighted yesterday. Some of them is that, of course, you need to be very mindful that Section 24 of that, Cybercrime Act states that there's something called domestic terrorism. It's got to do with any attempt to incite ethnic divisions online or use of social media, whichever way, among people will warrant life imprisonment.
Okay, so...
That's one. And there are many others. There are many others as well. There's also Section 6. It's an offense to actually possess critical information where you risk to get years imprisonment. One of such is that there's also the need for us to be careful with data. We see people who access data, who use data, who go ahead to use it for either nefarious acts or means and so on. The Cybercrime Act is also there to protect. We've seen a divide in the Cybercrime Act. Some people have said, I love it. Some people have said, no, I do not like it. And those who have said they do not like it, I mean, Omoyele Sowore is one person who doesn't like the Cybercrime Act. He says, not like he doesn't really like it, but he doesn't like the fact that it is being used as a tool to ensure that they can guide the media, silent dissent, of course, critics, and so on and so forth. So these are the aspects, and that makes one wonder if it's going to really affect what democracy stands for, or it's going to take Nigerians back to the military era.
Then again, my focus is always priorities. This is our biggest issue as a country as we speak. I believe we have adequate laws to take care of libel and other issues that have been raised that have been of concern with regards to this Cybercrime Act. The laws are adequate. Let's talk about how to industrialize, how to move from consumption to production, how to reduce the cost of living. That is a huge burden on the generality of Nigerians. How to reduce the numbers of multidimensionally poor Nigerians. How to improve health facilities. Not talking about gagging media, gagging individual freedoms and all of that. It's not priority as far as I'm concerned.
So really, just coming back to Section 24 again, last year, no, not even last year, earlier in the year, we did see Omoyele Sowore and a number of people leading protests against the Cybercrime Act because they felt like Section 24 was grossly, well, it uses the word grossly offensive there, but that it could be subject to misinterpretation. So when you say things like, or people who disseminate information that is grossly offensive or annoyance, how do you measure that? How do you measure gross offense? What might be grossly offensive to me might not be grossly offensive to Benga. What might be annoying to me might not be annoying to Joe. So how do you really measure that? I'm going to read what the original act said in 2015. The 2015 one says, any person who knowingly or intentionally sends a message or other matters by means of computer systems or network that is grossly offensive, pornographic, or of an indecent, obscene, or menacing character, or causes any such message or matter to be so sent, or he knowingly or intentionally transmits or causes the transmission of any communication through a computer system or network to bully, threaten, or harass another person, where such communication places another person in fear of death, violence, or bodily harm to another person, commits an offense, penalty 3 years imprisonment or a fine of up to 7 million naira or both. This was reviewed in 2024, and it was a slightly different wording in 2024. And at the end of the day, people say that there's an understanding of what the spirit of that law is to deal with bullying and harassment, cyberbullying. But then again, like Benga had said earlier, we ask, aren't there already existing laws that protect people who feel like certain things have been published about them online? There's defamation, there's libel, slander for already published material. How well have we done with this, and why do we need to do this? There have been cases of journalists who have complained about being targeted with Section 24. An example would be Daniel Ojuko in 2024. And then Reuters did a report that said about 15 journalists have been targeted with Section 24 from 2015. And that's just a few, right? There are others who maybe have been unreported. So again, I would believe that while this speculation has come up, is maybe to just let the National Assembly know that this is an area that is still a soft spot and a sore point for Nigerians, and would want for them to be very careful.
I agree, but I also want to mention that the Cybercrime Act, as amended in 2024, of course, initially in 2015, amended in 2024, one of the aims is to ensure that it separates misinformation, disinformation from facts. And what we saw yesterday that was circulated was actually disinformation from what the Cybercrime Act is supposed to do. However, the key thing is, when it was indeed amended, one of the things it highlighted offenses and penalties, especially for those who, it criminalized a lot of some acts. For instance, unlawful access to computers, identity theft, not forgetting to child pornography. That was another thing that was also reviewed in terms of the Cybercrime Act, and that's good. However, what we just want to highlight here as we review some of these things is the fact that this story did come up yesterday, and people ran with it, saying, oh, it's 2025. There's no 2025. There's no Cybercrime Act 2025. Amendment 2025. There's none. So let's take note of that before we also join in spreading these stories as well. Yeah.
But again, I know that Section 24 will still be a key issue. I don't think that they're quite done with that. ECOWAS court ruled in 2022 that it was it's too vague and that it violates the right to freedom of expression under the African Charter. And I know that this is not a conversation that we're quite done with, but for now, we just wanted to quickly highlight.
There's one you've omitted.
Which is?
What, Section 10?
Okay.
That you have to be careful during communication not to record somebody's communication you're having with someone. You record it and then you
without
use
their
it.
consent.
Without their consent, you go ahead to use it. That's also a cyber crime, because by the time you use it, you go online.
So how about the guys that are recording police?
I mean, that's 2 years imprisonment. That's 2 years imprisonment.
So if you're using your Meta glasses,
so you have to be careful. If
so how do we find that anyway?
So you see,
complicated.
It's complicated. But I'll give you an instance. There was a video we saw of a young man who was harassed by a police officer, but the police officer wanted to take his glasses. And that's a case of harassment. That's a case of trying to do what you ought not to do. It's not part of your job description, because you asked for his papers, he gave you his papers. Why did you decide to go at the next level and ensure that you would attack him? In that case, he has a video proof or a recording. That's fine. I don't think that's in any way.
Yeah, but the law says you can't record someone without their consent.
No, I don't believe it's in that case. It's in the case of maybe we're having a conversation, something that's supposed to be very private and so on, and then you record it. We've seen instances where people have recorded things and then use it against the person or use it for their own personal gain and so on. But it's critical, and we need to highlight that. So be very wary, be careful. If you're one of those circulating the story that there's a new Cybercrime Act, Amendment Act 2025, there's no such. There's nothing yet, even from the presidency, there hasn't been anything. Well, let's quickly bring you a recap of some of the big stories we've had this hour as we gear up for what is coming up in the second hour. Coming up next here on Breakfast Central. Coming up next, ahead of Rivers State LGA polls, we'll take a look at it. It's a make or mar. Is it going to hold? Rivers Police, RSIEC, Rivers residents, gear up. Will they be coming out in troops? SUBEB chair denies jobs, kickback allegation. We'll talk about all of this and more. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Breakfast Central. Now, barely 48 hours before the local government elections, a faction of the All Progressive Congress has dragged Tony Okocha and the Rivers State Electoral Commission to court. The suit filed by the Emeka Beke-led APC faction alleges that Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission unlawfully excluded their candidates from the August 30 polls and instead recognized a rival list submitted by Tony Okocha's camp.
The plaintiffs alleged that while they were conducting their own primaries on August 7, 2025, Tony Okocha quietly sent another list of candidates to RSIEC. When RSIEC eventually published the names of candidates on August 18th, the Becker's faction's nominees were missing.
In their words, RSIEC's action was blatant, willful, and unlawful, accusing the commission of working hand-in-hand with Okocha's group to edge them out. The claimants are asking the court to compel RSIEC to publish and use only their list of candidates, stop RSIEC from recognizing any list from Okocha's faction, set aside the already published list of August 18, and void the entire election if their candidates are not included. Well, besides that, there's also conversation about if this election is legal. But joining us to discuss this development is we actually find out whether or not this is a threat to tomorrow's local government elections in Rivers State. We do have the state chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, in Rivers State. We do have Solsu Maosaro and also the founder and CEO TAF Africa, Dr. Jake Ekpele, joining us this morning for this conversation. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Nigerians.
Great. All right, I'm going to start with you.
In the studio.
Great. I'm going to start with you, Chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council. Mr. Saro, please tell us, first off, before we go into the internal, wrangle, fight between, we submitted a list, we did not submit a list, and so on, what is IPAC's position on this lawsuit? First off, what's your position about this election, looking at the Constitution? Is it illegal? Do you think it's accepted? And do you think it should actually go on?
Yeah, firstly, I want to thank you for inviting me up here this morning as a concerned citizen of Rivers State and as a stakeholder, of course, in the political circle in Rivers State. Briefly, let me also state categorically that as the IPAC State Chairman of Rivers State,
okay, we seem to have connectivity issues there. But let's switch to our next guest who's here with us, Dr. Ekpele. Dr. Ekpele, you've talked about this all-important make or mar elections. What's your take on it? It's still holding, despite the fact that many have called for it not to hold due to the constitutional rights.
Including you.
Yeah.
Well, good morning. Listen, my dear, this is my position. When good men keep quiet, evil will thrive. We may do all the talking and they do all the doing, but history is recording us that we added our voice and called for the right thing to be done. In terms of the election, there are about 6 perspectives that I have about this upcoming election. One is the election in general terms legal? Are there constitutional issues? Are there provisions within the Electoral Act that is being followed? The second is the Electoral Management Board, which is the RSIEC. Did they do the right thing? Did they follow the minimum 90 days call? Who are the people in RSIEC that are qualified? Have they been tested before? Where are they coming from? Do they have electoral experience to organize a very important election like the local government election? This is grassroots democracy that we're talking about. Do they have the capacity and the competencies to organize this election? The other one is the political parties. How prepared are they? We hear that 50 would-be contestants had pulled off. Again, the issue is, has the public been properly educated to understand that they need to get involved in this election? And what is the feeling and the mood of the people? Let me take the first one, the legality. Everything shows that this forthcoming election tomorrow, did not meet the legal threshold that is required. The minimum standard was not followed, ensuring that there are a number of court orders, apart from the one they got on the 28th. There are other court orders that even the federal government have not followed. Okay, then let's talk about the experience of RSIEC. There is no doubt that I can pinpoint, even among the commissioners, first of all, the way they were appointed was the due process was not followed to the latter. There are lacunas in the appointment. There are issues that some of them who have been appointed had political affiliation, and of course, these are people who takes order from not just the administrator, but from Abuja. So is this election, is it supposed to hold? Yes, because it is meant to bring on board the third tier of government, which is the local government. But whether it is okay to hold this election, the important thing is, what is the legality? Was the legality followed? If you're a government that respects rule of law, could you go ahead with this election? I'm talking about problem. Let me end my statement with solution. The solution is simply that they would have suspended this election, allow the suspended governor that I'm sure that they will bring back. Once he's brought back, then you can work with him to conduct this election, and it will be free, fair, credible, and inclusive. So there's no doubt that they don't have, let me even ask them, have you heard from them at any point talking about inclusion of PWDs and even young people? No. Okay. So it's not like the local government election is not needful, is not very important. I am a grassroots person. Grassroots democracy must be promoted, but it shouldn't be promoted in such a rascal manner, ignoring the pulse of the people, refusing to get their attention. So if you ask me, it's not too late to call up this election.
Thank you.
Let a sitting governor come and conduct it.
Thank you, Dr. Epele. I just want to confirm if we have the chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council with us, Mr. Osaro. Are you still with us on the line?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah,
I want to, my question follows from Dr. Epele's submission that, the elections haven't reached the 90-day notice, hasn't followed the 90-day notice period as stipulated by the Constitution, and why the rush? They could have waited for the suspended governor to resume. I want to know your take on that, and also your assessment of the general situation with regards to political parties and the legality of these elections as they take place in Rivers State tomorrow, the local government elections.
All right, thank you very much. Once again, good morning, Nigerians. It is quite a critical moment in our political life as a state and as a country, because the situation at hand in Rivers State, looking at it from three perspectives. Firstly, from the constitutional perspective, and secondly, from the perspective of the stand of the General Assembly of the Inter-Party Advisory Council of Nigeria, and thirdly, under the moral political aspect of it. Now, despite what the founder and CEO of Albino Foundation have said, I feel there is a serious constitutional lacuna when it comes to do with the conduct of this election. And I weigh this side by side, the Gazette of 125 Lagos State issued on the 22nd of July this year, as against the provisions of the third schedule of the Nigerian Constitution, 1999 as amended. You agree with me that the conduct of local government election as resided in the third schedule of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 empowers the establishment of the State Independent Electoral Commission, and has also given powers to the state governor and as well as the State House of Assembly, powers to determine the appointment and so on when it comes to do with local government election in Nigeria. And River
we seem to be having
and section. Okay. So if you look at that, hello?
Hello, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Hello. Yeah. So if you look at that, you agree with me that despite the fact that Mr. President published this gazette that altered Section 2, subsection 2 of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, how does that comply with the provisions of the third schedule of the Constitution of Nigeria?
All right. It would seem that we're having a huge challenge with the connection. We hope that you can connect. If you are back, please go ahead. If not, I'd like to go to Dr. Epele. Are you there?
Election.
All right.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, please go ahead.
Yeah, it's a constitutional issue that should not be subjected to the whims and caprices of individual stands. Nigeria is a democracy. We are in a democratic setup, and the international communities, the African communities, and so on, looking onto Nigeria and what is happening in Rivers State, I think is not the best moment for Nigerians, as well as the international community and others, to view Nigerian democracy as a mockery. Now, on the second aspect of my stand, the General Assembly of the Inter-Party Advisory Council of Nigeria made a public written letter to the chairman of RSIEC on the 1st of August, complaining about the unconstitutional local government elections in Rivers State. And of course, signed by the national chairman, Dr. Yusuf Dantale, and the national secretary, Barrister Maxwell. You understand with me that political parties are the drivers of electoral processes in Nigeria, and as it is enabled in all statutory provisions of our laws. If political parties, who are the primary vehicles that determines the processes that brings up candidates, are now instructed by the letter from the national bodies of political parties in Nigeria not to participate in this election, in fact, pointing out the constitutional irregularities in the processes, and then what standard are we setting? What is the excess of even going into the election when the political machinery have said this is wrong? And I believe that every political party who is a member of the Inter-Party Advisory Council will yield to the directives of the national body. Although it is quite expected that political parties may determine their own decision to participate or not in an electoral processes, but we are talking about a general instruction now from the national leadership of the Inter-Party Advisory Council saying this election is not constitutional, this election is not right, and political parties should not participate in this election. That public statement also shows that the Nigerian community, by the largest organized body in Nigeria, when I mean the largest is because every citizen belongs to a political party. And so if this body have taken up a statement to say, no, this should not happen, what is the justification for even going into the election in the first instance? But I'll also tell you that the IPAC is a body, it's a respected and responsible body. Where there are violations to their directives, I also think sanctions will follow. And so that is my take. And on the final lap, the moral in politics. What moral standard are we showing? What legacy are we giving? Posterity will not forget what is happening in Rivers State today, and every conscious or unconscious actors who are involved in what is going on, you should remember that posterity will always ask tomorrow, because what is happening in the state today, I think, is a slap on democracy, because it is quite, uncalled for. If in a democratic setting, election that ought to have been conducted by a sitting governor, empowered by the third schedule of the Constitution, and also moderated by the Rivers State House of Assembly, is being done under an emergency rule situation that has created the sole administrator. So what are we saying? I think it is an aberration. Furthermore, we are aware that prior to the emergence of the election that took place in 2024, the local government elections conducted by the suspended governor, there was a Supreme Court order that instructed, that guided, that postulated that there should be no caretaker committees in Nigeria anymore in our local government setting. But contrary to that, you can see today in Rivers State that we have sole administrators at the local government level. What moral standard are we living in our political history? So these are my submissions on the Rivers State election holding scheduled to hold on the 30th of this month, irrespective of, I know there are a plethora of cases in the court. Some parties have gone to court. The both parties in court. The ADC is in court. Like my own political party, the Social Democratic Party, SDP, we withdrew from the entire processes. We decided not to participate as a party because we must respect the directives of the national leadership of the Inter-Party Advisory Council. And as a party that has set a standard in Nigeria, dating back in 1992-93, when we saw the presidential candidate of SDP, His Excellency Chief Emeka Abiola, GCFR, the former president of Nigeria, won a free and fairest election on record till today. And it is also a point to note that the present president of Nigeria, Mr. President, was a senator on the SDP platform in that era. And most of us that followed politics from that era, we held Mr. President in high esteem, that as a man who has suffered in trying to ensure a democratic revival of Nigeria when we're in the climax and the heat of military rule, that today Mother Nature has blessed him to become the president of Nigeria. And what is happening in Rivers State? Why would Mr. President allow this to happen in Rivers State? He is an elected president for the people of Nigeria. And we also elected the governor of Rivers State. The man who within 2 years he served did a lot that impacted on the people of Rivers State.
All right, Mr. Sosona, I don't know if you can hear me. Mr. Sosona, I'd like to bring in Dr. Epele into the conversation. You've given a very broad explanation. You did talk about parties who have gone to court. There's Emeka Bekele, there's Tony Okocha, and the issues between them, and the implication of RSIEC. So let's ask Dr. Epele.
They have the right to go to court. Every party has the right.
I hear you. And I'll come back to you to speak on. I'll come back to you to speak on it. But I want Dr. Epele to speak on that as well. I know Dr. Epele isn't a fan of the elections per se, but if you may please speak on the issues between Mr. Emeka Bekele and Mr. Tony, and also look at RSIEC. They've implicated RSIEC in this conversation.
Yeah, well said, my brother from the Inter-Party Advisory Council. Let's take it one after the other. Yesterday, in your news, somebody came to speak for this whole kangaroo process and was saying everything is ready. And of course, by the time you went to streets, it was a different story. So the information reaching me, and I have some of the documents, is the fact that there are two factions in APC. So if we have 17 political parties by today going into this election, apart from what the court has done, we would have had 18 political parties, APC 1, APC 2. However, there's a rift between Emeka Beke and Tony Okorocha, who is the legitimate chair of APC. There's a huge struggle. The problem is one faction is supported by the FCT minister and peradventure maybe the presidency. The other faction is struggling to be recognized. And I am told that they've literally stopped all their candidates. And many of them, some of them I know, and I know the guy who was going to contest for the local government of my seat, chairmanship of my local government, which is Popo. He's quite popular, and he would have won landslide. And so, to save them the embarrassment, the judiciary has been manipulated to say that faction should not be part of the election. That is a problem that we have. It's further throwing the state into political crisis. Today we have constitutional crisis, because the constitution have been totally swept under the carpet. And so what my take is to focus on the way forward. What are we going to do? We've talked, we've said, we've written, they are not budging. That's fine, but at least there are recordings today that can prove to say that people like us and several others lend their voices for the right thing to be done. And that's the point I'm trying to make. Now, let me also use this opportunity to ask the dear people of Rivers State, please do not take to the street. Allow peace to reign. There will be a post-election legal battle. And that's another opportunity for the right thing, for the wrong thing that they are doing to be corrected, So I want to strongly ask the good people of Rivers State, the youths, the elders, the women, do not go taking the law into your hands. Allow peace to reign. Let them have your way. One day, you will have both your way and your say. Right. I've seen this thing play out several times. Rivers people, don't be cajoled into going into any form of destruction or resistance. Don't block RSIEC. Let them conduct their illegal election. At the end of the day, some reasonable judges that we have, and we do have many of them, would see the need to correct this, to be on the good side of history. I think my people have suffered enough. Rivers people, we have been taken for granted, our resources drained. They brought a foreigner to sit over our resources. And I keep saying that Ibok should be man enough to advertise how he has been spending public money.
All right.
He is responsible to account for what he was given.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Epele. We'll go on a very quick break. When we return from the break, we'll come back and still expand the conversation further. Stay with us.
Welcome back. Still Breakfast Central. We're counting down to the all-important Make or Mar River State LGA elections, which is set to hold tomorrow, August the 30th. The build-up had started very early in the month, and there was a list that was indeed shared, although there are still implications regarding the all-important LGA elections, one of which is that who and who will be going to the polls. That's a big question, even though we hear that some political parties have indeed withdrawn or have pulled out from the elections. But we do have two very interesting guests who are joining us. They will be talking more on this just for a few minutes. And also we have our reporters on ground. Hopefully they should be able to connect with us. We do hear that the network connectivity is not too good, but if they can, we want to find out what the mood is like, the areas where they are indeed reporting from, what's really happening, and most importantly, Are the people of River State ready for this election, or do they still view it as one that is indeed faulty or not according to Nigeria's constitution? Well, let me bring in my guest very quickly. Dr. Pele, before I go to our next guest, let me come to you very quickly. Let's look at one thing here, and that's one thing that's very clear and concerning to every single indigene of River State. I don't know, I stand to be corrected, but there seems to be a mixed reaction concerning this. Now, some Rivers indigents are saying, you know what, let's just go ahead with the elections. And when the principal, in this particular context, the one whom we voted for, returns back on his seat, we would ensure that he takes the entire process to court so that we can upturn or indeed change every single thing and do it again. While there are others who are saying, you know what, just for peace to reign, let's just do it and move on. So what do you think will actually happen, especially looking at tomorrow?
Well, I think it's important to, state that sometimes, most times, when you do the right thing and follow a through process, it brings very lasting peace. The issue we're dealing with is very important. And let me weigh in on the fact that you said you heard maybe when the governor comes back, it's not going to happen. They have tied the hands of the suspended governors. He's not coming back to unturn anything that is being done. He's just going to weather through the storm, and if possible, by providence, divine providence, he would do 2027. Or otherwise, that's the end of his tenure, and they will ask him to bow out. So he's not going to change anything. This is their internal agreement that whatever they do before you come back, you're not going to change it. He's not going to change the fact that a lot of money has been siphoned. I don't think he will have the audacity to investigate, except if a sham investigation. So his hands have been tied right now. It will be further tied when he resumes. So there's nothing that is going to change at all. The political landscape in my dear state has been bastardized. It's unfortunate that the people that feels more of all this political melodrama is the dear people of River State. A lot of them are struggling, a lot of them are suffering. When you go to ministries that these suspended governors have revived. As a civil servant, he knew the challenges. And as soon as he took over, he began to solve those things. All the good work that he has done has been overturned. Let me ask a question. This sole animator that you guys call administrator, has he ever shown us one project he started and completed? People do projects in 1 month, 2 months. He's been there going to 6 months. What is it that he has done except sitting there trying to conduct election for people to be elected when he's not elected or when he's selected? These are some of the problems that we have. And thank God that we have channels like yours and several others who are putting this River State issue front and center. And we'll continue to do that, or we'll continue to speak the truth to power, irrespective of what it will cost us. There's a need for the Rivers people to have a voice. And I thank God I'm chosen to be one of them, and several others. There are other people who are doing it far better than I am doing it. But the point is, as Rivers indigene, we will not, they say elders, elders are not in the house, and then the goat, lion will come and kill the goat. So you have to continue, we have to continue to let them know how we feel, how the people, the pulse of the people at every point in time. So we're not, of course, I know that they will eventually decide that they are going to hold the election. Let them do that. Just like it's on record that people spoke out during several governments. It will also be on record that I did. So as an elder statesman, I want to use this opportunity again to call on the president. Great leaders, when they make decision and found out that there's an error, they reverse themselves. So it's not too late. This whole thing can be reversed. I know a lot of resources has gone into it, but when the resources have gone into a wrong process, it would give us wrong outcome. The average Rivers people are not interested in this election. This election will witness the most voter apathy ever. They don't trust RSIEC because of the way they were constituted. Absolute due process was not followed in their recruitment. And so tell me, if you came on board through a wrong process, what right thing will you be able to do? Nothing. The people are not going to take arms and go to the street. That will not happen, because many times they set us up so that they will kill innocent people and then blame it on citizens who are trying to demand for their right. But we are wise enough. We are wise enough. The Rivers people are wise enough. Nobody's going to take to the street. Nobody's going to protest. We have a channel through which we vent our feelings, and one of them is the media. Nobody's going to protest. I bet you, like I said, we're very civilized people, and we know what the rule of law says, and we obey to the latter. However, that does not mean that they are doing the right thing. A lot of wrong has been done to Rivers people. The issue of even the money that they are spending is still on the front burner. They haven't told us, they haven't come out to, vividly clear the air to say that, no, central bank is releasing money to us. From what we're hearing and gathering, they've been borrowing money. They've been borrowing money. And so this particular forthcoming election tomorrow is also on borrowed funds. Who will pay the interest? Rivers taxpayers, allocation that belongs to us. At the end of the day, the bank will take all of them. I don't think any bank is doing anything less than 21, 23% interest rate threshold. Think about that when you relate it to billions. So they are going to make banks richer and make the people poorer. That's the situation that we have in our hand, Joe, Olive, and Benga. And we need voices like yours to keep pushing, and one day the truth will win. Let me, in the words of Obama, put it in perspective. He said, democracy will win if we all fight for it. And that's what we need to do. And we will continue to do that going forward. Let them listen to the voices of reasoning that is telling them this thing is wrong, don't do it. And all the former local government chairmen that have served the FCT ministers that are coming back to hold the local government offices. It's going to be a financial rake, because these guys have never been able to account for anything and everything that they have. Many of them have built massive hotels. You can imagine one of the local chairmen in the past administration saying that he spent $4 billion to build his hotel. Where did he get that kind of money? What is the salary of a local government chairman?
Thank you very much, Dr. Epele. I would like to bring in the chairman of IPAC River State into the conversation. Just before we conclude this conversation, Mr. Osaro, what's the official position of IPAC on this local government elections? And what are your expectations as citizens of River State go to polls tomorrow to elect local government chairman?
Well, on the perspective or the position of IPAC, I made it clear earlier on that the General Assembly of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, headed by Dr. Yusuf Dantale as the national chairman and Barrister Maxwell Mbedu as the national secretary, and the entire General Assembly have taken a position, and they have formally written to RSIEC expressing their disgust and dismay that these processes are unconstitutional, that we cannot have a local government election conducted under an emergency rule, So, that be the case, that is the position of IPAC in Rivers State.
Now, what are your own expectations? Yes.
Pardon?
Your own expectations on the polls tomorrow.
Well, let me join my voice to that of our elder statesmen who have spoken so well there on the present state, the feelings and emotions flowing in Rivers State today. It is not different. From our political party perspective, the Social Democratic Party, we've urged all our members to stay off the election and to remain indoors. We don't want anyone to get involved in violence, and we have said that we are not participating in the election, although there are some miscreants and imposters who have besieged RSIEC and flaunting appointment letters from the dissolved National Working Committee of the SDP after the July 25th NEC meeting we had, where we have a new leadership of the SDP headed by Comrade Adamu Abubakar Modibo and Dr. Ekpenyong Ambo. Now, we have also written to RSIEC. We've made it to understand that there are imposters who have besieged them claiming to be members of SDP. And we have put RSIEC on notice that discontinue whatever you're doing with such persons who don't have character, who have integrity, who have misleading the public about SDP. So, broadly speaking, we have asked our members to stay calm, stay off the election, stay off anything violence. Yesterday, a stakeholders meeting took place in Rivers State, where the leaders, members of SDP have also given their support to the stand of the leadership of SDP in Rivers State. And so we're not participating. We don't wish any crisis. We are law-abiding people, law-abiding citizens, even though what is happening in the state today will leave a question mark on the heart and integrity of the average Rivers man or the actors who are involved in what is going on today. But let me also remind us that the silent majority of Rivers people are not happy with what is going on, because we will not see a state isolated from the entire democratic setting in Nigeria and passing through these inexplicable experiences as a people who believes in democracy. Let me also remind us of the living words of Frantz Fanon. He said, and I quote, "We are nothing on earth if we are not in the first place the slaves of a cause, the cause of the people, the cause for justice and liberty." If weighing this against what is happening in Rivers State today, what will be our collective stand as a people? What will posterity remember you for? We will not be quiet when things are going wrong, in as much as we will not be quiet when things are going well. We stand as citizens of this state to protect the integrity of this state in the face of any situation. And let me also say this medium to call on Mr. President that as a product of democracy, as someone who has been in the forefront of championing the cause of democracy when we were in the military, shackle, today, what we are saying in Rivers State is not democratic. And if you are a product of democracy, why will you allow this to happen in Rivers State? It is against the conscience of politics, the ethics of politics, the purpose of politics. And I also want to join my voice to those who are calling on Mr. President. It is not too late to reverse any situation that is not well in tandem with the majority of the people. Democracy is majority's voice. And when you have majority not in tandem with what is happening, I know there are pretenses. I know people who are beneficial from the present situation wouldn't want to say otherwise. But the question mark will be on our integrity as a people tomorrow. And for those who are sitting on the fence, posterity will not also forgive or forget your stand. As a citizen of Rivers State, we must live by what we preach. We must stand for what is justiciable. We must stand on the constitutionality of every step of action we take. I maintained earlier on that third schedule of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 is presently murdered. And we cannot justify the conduct of Rivers State election in Rivers State with the gazette produced on the 22nd of July. It is not, in tandem with democratic principles, democratic rules, democratic laws. And so we want to join our voices to call on Mr. President. At this point, let us not allow Rivers State to be a ridicule in the international community, to be a ridicule state in international parlance, to be a ridicule state in Nigeria. Because as it stands today in Nigeria, this is the only state that is passing through this inexplicable experience in the political history of our time. And I also believe that if this thing is taken care of, it will also place Mr. President on a good footnote and the hearts of people as a listening president who listen to the voice of a silent majority in Rivers State and then did the needful. Let us not also forget that power is transient. Whatever we are seeing today is transient. There were people yesterday, and there are people today, and there will be others tomorrow. Okay. Whatever we do, let us not look on the fact that today is I am in charge. No. What will tomorrow provide? What will tomorrow say? What are we feeding for tomorrow? What legacies are we leaving for the younger generations of Rivers citizens in this our political height? We have seen today that one of the most insulted, humiliated, disrespected, elected governor in Nigeria is the suspended governor of Rivers State. And like the elder statesman said, I don't think the governor will come back to undo whatever that has been done because he's shackled. I don't think the governor will come back to say anything otherwise because he's handicapped. All right. We have seen the entire scenario that played out. And then we are saying that as Rivers people, we will not fail to lend our voices to any injustice that is going on in our political scene. Okay, we can say our views, the other side may be done, but the fact remains that whatever decision taken today, all right, Mr. tomorrow will justify.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your comments and your points. Well, gentlemen, I think we've said it all. But regardless, we do get feeders that the state is indeed gearing up for the elections, which will look to hold tomorrow. I know we've called on the president in terms of looking into this, especially from the two guests we've had. But that's a report that we do have. Just to wrap things up quickly, Dr. Epele, very brief, because we're out of time. The elections will hold tomorrow. And many have said that they're expecting a low turnout. You've also said there would be voter apathy tomorrow. And also, many have looked into the situation that some persons will emerge victors and eventually will be sworn into these local governments. Can you share with us what the Rivers people should be looking at, especially from tomorrow, in terms of coming out to vote, in terms of ensuring that their vote indeed counts, and in terms of ensuring, too, that if they are not voting, they should ensure that they call for, they probably go to the courts. And lastly, please, while you answer that, is the judiciary, their silence, what does it mean, especially for tomorrow's elections, the judiciary's silence?
Let me start with your last question, the silence of the judicial system and those who are running the system. It's unfortunate that, and I want to say here that not every judge, not every magistrate, not every law officers are corrupt. Well, we have too many who are corrupt, who can be easily bought over. And so they would twist the political structure to favor the person who paid them highest. We see that happening. So we have very little faith that even when the court steps in, there's not going to be too many unturning of the what the people are doing. Now, the local government election is very important. It's important because it speaks to grassroots democracy. And if the process, as it will go on tomorrow, I wouldn't call for a boycott, for people to stay out of it. So, but the point is, this would have been better done, you know. And Joe, listen, you know, I keep saying to Mr. President, the time is always right to do what is right. It doesn't matter how short the time is. Secondly, every one of us on the surface of the earth will be remembered for two things. One, the problems we caused. Two, the problems we solved. Can we all be remembered for the problems that we solved? Why are we throwing spanners in the works and ensuring, throwing away spanners that we will need? Why is it that the people that have spoken eloquently, although silent, is saying, listen, we don't need this election. We don't trust the administrator. We have a suspended governor. He should be reinstated so that he can conduct this election. But they're not heeding to that. So the process must continue, even if it produces, you know, a very bad outcome. That's not the way to go. That's not the democracy. Because many of the things that's happening in Rivers State have failed every political science theory. It has failed every legal theory. Every time they come up with one thing or the other, the impact of the people is overwhelming. And we must not continue to do that, because today is Rivers State. Tomorrow, it can be Ogun State. It can be Ondo. And let the people be served by those that they are elected, that they elected to serve them. Let the people hold accountable those that have been said will serve them. So tomorrow, all right, they are going to bring up their candidate. We must continue to spotlight them and hold them accountable, how they spend Rivers people resources, and many of them are doing that and getting fatter, and the people are getting leaner, and that shouldn't continue.
All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen, Dr. Kwele and Mr. Saro, for joining us. You can count on News Central. We'll be there live to ensure that we monitor all proceedings and bring the live coverage of every single thing that's taking place in Rivers State. Thank you so much for your time, and do have a wonderful one.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Now, as the 2025-2026 academic session approaches, concerns are mounting over the poor state of government-owned primary and secondary schools in Delta State. Parents and guardians are worried that inadequate infrastructure could affect learning outcomes. At the same time, allegations of job kickbacks and extortion have been leveled against officials of the Delta State Universal Basic Education Board, SUBEB. Contractors claim payments are being demanded for checks and completion certificates. News Central's Austin Azu reports from Asaba.
With school resumption just a few days away, parents in Delta State are raising alarms over dilapidated structure in government-owned primary and secondary schools. Classrooms, laboratories, and basic facilities remain in urgent need of repair.
The state of schools, especially government-owned, is to a reasonable level dilapidating. We still have one or two that the government have really taken upon themselves to work on, but a lot of them, so many of them are in a pitiable state, which really require urgent attention.
The truth of the matter is, where you learn, the environment you have, all your education affects the input and the output. So the teachers are not motivated. You going to a place where the chairs are shaking, where the walls are cracked, where there's no light, where there's no fan. Of course, the teacher will not be able to give our best. Likewise, the students receiving education from such a place will greatly hamper assimilation, learning, and even your productivity. Very, very, very well.
Chairman of the Delta State Universal Basic Education Board, Samuel Marere, reaffirms the government's commitment to upgrading school infrastructure across the state.
Yes, we have not been able to get there, to get to a place where every school have a classroom that is of international standard. His Excellency is very concerned and is doing everything within his powers. It will interest you to know that this year's counterpart funding of 6 point something billion The Delta State government was the first state to pay in full in Nigeria.
On allegations of job kickbacks and extortion, Marire strongly denied any wrongdoing, assuring that the board operates transparently and with integrity.
Let me be absolutely clear. 90% of approved projects have been completed. All contractors are duly paid. No gratuity or illicit payment was requested or received by me or any member of Delta SUBEB. An emergency meeting with contractors has already confirmed publicly that no money or percentage was paid to the chairman or any SUBEB official.
Stakeholders are advocating for a coordinated approach to address infrastructural challenges, including increased funding, proper oversight, and active community involvement to ensure students return to safe and conducive learning environments. In Asaba for News Central, Austin, Azu.
You're watching Breakfast Central here at News Central Television. We'll go on a quick break, and when we return, it will be time for Breakfast Headlines. Hello, welcome to Breakfast Headlines. I am Benga Aborowa. We begin with preparations for elections in Rivers State, where a joint security briefing was held at the headquarters of the State Independent Electoral Commission in Port Harcourt. The meeting came as preparations for Saturday's local government elections in the state hits top gear.
This is not the first time we are going to conduct election, and we are going to participate in election as security is concerned. And we need to adhere strictly to what concerns us. I want to also need you to know that we're in a state of emergency, and there are some powers that we have in that state in mind of emergency. All to ensure things do well and to be decisive in our decision when the chips are down. We don't want the situation whereby the security agencies are the one that will cause problem in the smooth running of this election. There are going to be video cameras. Observers are going to come from different places. You know quite well the rules that guide our conduct, including not being visible with any arm at the polling booth. If there's any reason for distress call, we have our men strategically located in different places that come out to assist when there are security threats. Also, VIPs are not supposed to bring their escort or whatever close to the polling booths. That way, there are lots that you go through in the pamphlet, including soliciting for votes, tampering with money, exchanging money.
Now, moving on to the agitation by Nigerian lecturers over unmet demands, where the federal government has denied ever signing any binding agreement with the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. The Education Minister, Dr. Jalasa, clarified this in Abuja that documents cited by ASU from 2009 and 2011 were proposals and not signed contracts. Dr. Lausa said the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu remains committed to resolving the university lecturers' lingering issues, but dismissed rumors of a scheduled meeting involving the Minister of Labour as inaccurate. Meanwhile, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, says Nigerians should hold the government accountable for any further disruptions to the academic calendar. At a press conference held at the University of Lagos, the ASU Lagos Zonal Coordinator, Adeola Nasir, said the union's warning comes after a series of unproductive meetings with the government agencies and a peaceful protest that yielded no result. Earlier, the National Association of Nigerian Students has also threatened to shut down critical infrastructure nationwide if the federal government fails to meet the demands of the lecturers.
The right of ASU to embark on strike when all efforts yield no meaningful result is recognized by the labor laws. Our members are being owed various entitlements Now, when the Minister of Education expressed the wish of government that there will be no strike by unions in tertiary institutions, one would think this will immediately be matched with action. Unfortunately, all we have been doing is talking and holding series of meetings with government agencies without results. It's a clear case of movement without motion. What else would anyone do in this situation? Whatever happens next, Nigerians should hold government responsible, not ASU.
Reactions are currently trailing the People's Democratic Party's decision to zone its 2027 presidential ticket to the south, while some members welcome the move as a step towards restoring balance within the party. Others argue that it may have come too late to repair the damage caused by the 2023 elections. Among those reacting is the Senior Special Assistant in Public Communications and Social Media, Larry Olayinka, who is to the FCT Minister, who insists the decision vindicates the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory. Yes, Wike.
When the FCT Minister was saying in 2022 to 2023 that now that the North already had the presidential candidate of the party, bring this chairman to the South. They refused. It was illegal. They cannot do it. 1 week cannot dictate to them. Those 5 governors, G5 governors, they have no strength in their state. That was what they were telling us. That the same thing that UK said 3 years ago is what they have done yesterday. As we cannot be vindicated.
The governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, has expressed the commitment of the Imo State government to improve the fortunes of residents in the state. Governor Uzodinma, while speaking to newsmen in Abuja after the presentation of a lecture at the General Assembly of the Catholic Archdiocese of Abuja, says that the state government has already put in place measures to increase its internally generated revenue. He commended President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for his support for states in the country, including increase in monthly allocations for states. Now, outside Nigeria, Tanzania's President Samia Suluhu Hassan officially launched her campaign on Thursday ahead of October's presidential and parliamentary elections. The event in Dar es Salaam was a high-profile affair, complete with popular musicians and thousands of ruling party supporters. Samia Hassan, who assumed office in 2021 after the death of President John Pombe Magufuli, promised expanded health care and end to hospitals withholding bodies over unpaid bills, and the creation of a reconciliation commission to oversee, constitutional reforms. Key challenges include Chadema's Tundu Lissu and ACT Wazalendo's Luhaga Mpina have already been disqualified.
Chama cha Mapinduzi kinakuja kwenu kuomba tena ridhaa na dhamana ya kuiongoza serikali na taifa la Tanzania. Tunakuja tena kutokana na sababu mbili kubwa. Kwanza, tumefanya vyema na tumefanikiwa katika utekelezaji wa ilani ya uchaguzi ya CCM ya mwaka 2020-2025. Lakini la pili, CCM tunaamini katika uwezo wetu katika kulitumikia taifa letu.
Tunashukuru Mama Samia amefanya uzinduzi wa kutisha, haijawahi kutokea, na tunategemea kupata ushindi wa kishindo sana katika kampeni zake kuanzia urais, ubunge mpaka udiwani. Na wahusia vyama vya upinzani wahamasisha sana kufanya kampeni pasipo kutukanana, yaani wafanye kampeni za kistaarabu, wanadi sera zao, wasimtukane mtu, wasitukane chama. Yaani hiyo ndio ombi langu kwa sasa.
Kampeni zimeenda vizuri kutokana na mama amesisitiza amani, mshikamano, upendo na mambo mengi ya tamaduni za Kitanzania.
And now to North Africa. Algeria has a new interim prime minister. Sifi Graib has officially taken office following the unexpected dismissal of Prime Minister Nadir Labui by President Abdulmajid Tebboune. The announcement was made through a brief presidential statement that offered no explanation for the decision. Grabe, a seasoned diplomat and government official, now steps into the role during a politically sensitive time for the North African nation, just months ahead of key national reforms amidst growing public demand for transparency. The move has raised questions both at home and abroad, with analysts closely watching for signs of a broader political shake-up before the details have been released by the presidency regarding a certain leadership change. And that's all on Breakfast Headlines at this hour. Breakfast Central continues shortly. I am Benga Aboroa. Hello, welcome back to Breakfast Central. It's now time for us to review the newspaper headlines, and join us today to review the headlines is Head of Research and Monitoring at News Central, Mr. Abdulatif Ahmed. Warm welcome to you, Abdulatif Ahmed, and thanks you for gracing us on this special Friday.
Thank you for
I must say, of all the analysts that we've had, it's not because you're in-house. You're one of the greatest.
Thank you.
If not the greatest.
Thank you.
Again, can I mention that this thing that he just said to you, he has said it to every single analyst that has come on the show this week.
Today is a new day.
So
today you are special.
So if he greets you good morning, go outside and check.
And check if it's really morning or so.
Might be midnight.
Oh, Jim. You're welcome. So what paper are we starting with today?
Okay, let's start with this Nigeria newspaper. On the front page of this Nigeria, NNPC refineries lose 500 million naira monthly, says Ojulari. GCO 6 foreign expertise says attacks, sack plots won't derail reforms. Wike tasks G7 states on cross-border crime. Mokwa flood, Niger shuts down IDP camps over security concerns. NEC endorses renewed hope economic plan to fast-track $1 trillion economy. Nigeria battles triple burden of malnutrition, according to the federal government. Okay, maybe we'll...
Quite a lot
Yeah, too many to unpack there.
But let's start with the NNPC refineries losing 500 million naira monthly. That's bleeding. It's such a serious amount of money. And at the same time, the federal government is looking at ways of, price of passports, for example, the 32-page passports has been said to go up to 100,000 when you still have leakages like this. What's your reaction to this headline by the NNPC?
So for me, most of the time, government talks big, and sometimes we do not see it translate into action. When you say you lose 50 million naira,
500 million.
500 million on a monthly basis, the question is, what are the leakages? How are you cleaning up the space? What are you doing to ensure that these leakages do not occur? Who are those responsible for this amount of leakage? Because if you are losing 500 million on a monthly basis, what are you making? These refineries are moribund refineries. What is the government doing essentially to ensure that these refineries are back on track? We just hear a lot of promises every now and then. It is shut down today. Tomorrow it is refining 1 liter of PMS. When exactly are we going to to be over with all of these things? But it boils down to the fact that it is clear that government cannot run these establishments. It cannot run business because they always have a way to go back into something where they can dip their hands into. Give it to private firms and let them run these things efficiently.
Okay, let's also see here, another one would be Nigeria battles triple burden of malnutrition, federal government says. So it feels like in a nation where they will say a huge portion of the population is multidimensionally poor across board. Now looking at food, the burden of malnutrition, how can people afford to get good nutrition when they can't even afford the basics basic necessities, food, shelter, clothing.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Exactly.
Yeah, so some of these problems come from the fact that we do not see that there's a lot of burden, forex burden on us importing food. And the reason why we are importing food is because we have a nation that is still fixated to the old way of doing things. We cannot be farming in the ways that our great-grandfathers in the 1900s are farming. We have to scale up, we have to apply technology. We have to do
Mechanized
things,
farming.
exactly. Earlier I was even joking with someone. I said we have about how many? 52,000 prisoners, and I was joking. I said we could have these people as farmhands.
I mean, you don't even need prisoners. Just look at the Lekki-Epe corridor and those guys that are begging for the street urchins,
exactly.
the vagrants.
You can actually give them a lease to life. So what is happening essentially is that we keep complaining about malnutrition, about food shortages, about the high price of food, but we do not do anything concrete to ensure that we mitigate these factors. What do you make of a country that imports eggs to the tune of billions, or I think about 9 or 10 billion?
Eggs?
Eggs.
Meanwhile, there's kukuruku everywhere in Lagos.
But it doesn't meet the demand, considering the number of pastries, confectionery, bread, and all of that we make, or we consume, in the country. We consume a lot of eggs. We can't even make up for the number of eggs we consume, let alone poultry, let alone livestock. A lot that we import. So malnutrition is happening because, a lot of people are, below the poverty line. They do not have anything to fall back at, and government is not doing much to, reduce, enlighten them. Because sometimes people are malnourished or suffer malnutrition because they do not know the options that are available to them. The fact that you are below the poverty line does not mean that you cannot access some, crops or plants, or will I say food choices that would help you, mitigate nutritional challenges.
But isn't it ironic that a country that boasts of so much arable land that sometimes you don't even need fertilizer, we're abundantly blessed in this country, will be complaining of malnutrition and lack of food, insecurity for its citizens?
Yeah, so the problem is not because we do not have arable land. The problem is we cannot meet the demand. If you were to compare the amount of food we consume versus how long it will take for what you plant to germinate, and then you store it up, and then you are able to sell it.
Loss,
exactly.
Dealing with that.
So we need technology, we need systems that can save up the post-harvest losses.
Have we started working towards that direction?
In some ways. So for example, we made a lot of noise about ranching cattle during the past administration,
livestock,
the NLPT scheme. But now we have one coming up in Kano, another one in Plateau State, where cattle is ranched, and we also have some exchange program between government and is it Holland? They will give us some species of milk producing cattle that will give us more volume in terms of
that's the one I want to hear. Hollandaise cow.
I can see that. But another issue, as we're talking about the challenges with malnutrition, I want us to quickly touch on Niger, because Niger, we're hearing that they've shut down the IDP camps over security concerns, and these IDP camps were set up because of the displacement caused by the Mokwa floods. Now, linking that again to the problem with malnutrition, or problem of malnutrition, a number of these people, where do they go to? What do we expect?
So that is the thing. These people who are going to leave the IDP camps will constitute nuisance to the communities they will go, because they cannot sleep, on the ground. They have to look for places where they will.
What alternatives has the government provided for them?
So that is it. You cannot take people out of the IDP camps without alternatives. There has to be some alternatives in some ways, because if you don't do that, there will be heightened cases of diseases. Children will be exposed to elements of the weather. You will have cases of probably abuse, because now you have women exposed, children, female girls, girls exposed to people they would ordinarily not be exposed to, so they are not protected. So you have to keep them, protected.
I'm hearing that they were compensated, that about 85% of them had been compensated by the government, and that apparently the reason they decided to shut it down was because the residents within that community were complaining that a huge a percentage of the people that were claiming to be IDPs were not actually IDPs displaced from Mokwa flood, but people who were just constituting nuisance to the community themselves.
So that's another problem. You know, sometimes you're trying to create an intervention from government and people abuse it, and then it's all messed up.
I mean, it just goes to show the level of poverty and desperation.
That people will look for creative ways.
To even want to go to an IDP camp to, you know, get a few benefits.
Just the same way we complain about people in, you know, in government spending a lot of money, in quotes, on people who are in the prisons. So there are people who commit crimes because they want to end up in the prisons where they can get free food.
And there are some people who are using places.
Yeah, they, you know, shelter, food, and all that, and probably protected.
Because they have their friends.
Yes, and probably protected from street urchins. There are people who are so vulnerable that they don't want to go into crime, but they know that their existence in itself is a threat to some other people. Like they could get robbed. They are poor in the first place. They could get mugged or robbed. So they would rather commit some crime and then end up in police custody or in the cell, whatever, anywhere where they
But not Nigeria, Sha.
In Nigeria, it's happening. That's why we have you compared the number of people?
Kirikiri.
Yes, so the numbers are rising. I looked at the number, I think in January it's around 51,000. By June, it's 53,000. Why do you have more people in, you know,
But I mean, if you look at that prison population vis-a-vis our population in general, it's very minuscule.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
And then there's some people who are
and we also need to
as well.
invest in. We need to make them more productive.
That is my concern.
Prisons. We need
rehabilitation
communities
centers
and rehabilitation centers for vagrants, for people that have committed, and they should live in dignity.
Yeah, so that's why we have boastal homes in some cases. But again,
just
you
realize we move away from.
No, I don't want us to move away because I wanted to ask.
From this
story. No, this same story.
Okay.
I wanted to ask.
So you have postal homes, but the problem is sometimes rehabilitation is not holistic. People go into prisons and then when they come out,
worse.
Yeah, so they come out as damaged people, and ordinarily those places should be correctional facilities where people go and become a better person.
Just to add, of the various reasons that people would either go to prison because they want food, shelter, clothing, or to these IDP camps pretending to be IDP, internally displaced persons. I'm seeing here that a resident, Yusuf Issa, alleged that some men and women were using the camp for immoral activities. Some men were using the camp as a place where they bring women in the night and sleep and leave in the morning.
So that's a given.
I mean, even in the midst of flooding and disaster.
In the midst of hardship.
So that is something that poor people are very proficient at. No other sports. Did you see? So I saw something that was published not too long ago. The growth rate in sub-Saharan Africa is on the high. So when people do not have any other things to do, they just become sports people in the.
I mean, just to quote one of our former colleagues here, the great Nelly Kalu. She said, a poor Nigerian man is a dangerous sex machine.
And I agree with that.
Because he had nothing else.
In true words and in terms of facts, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, that's a given.
There's so many conversations around
They say that idle minds, the devil's workshop. That's what people say. So when one is idle, what else can he do? If it's not productive, that's exactly what you'd see.
Okay,
anyway,
you wanted to take another story on the same paper?
NEC endorses Renewed Hope economic plan to fast track to 1 trillion economy. We're very big on numbers. You know, we're always boasting about IGR, but it's not. We're not talking about the fundamentals. Human capital development.
Yes.
The human development indices that really matter and the quality of life of human beings. But before you touch that, let's look at the picture in the headlines. And it's something that's been bothering me for a long time. I don't know if it's a handover of the
photo on the
military,
front page.
the photo on the front page. So they saw Mr. President. Before the president leaves the country, they also do this.
What is that?
They see him off. Escorts.
See him off. Okay,
yes.
okay. I see that.
Can we have the? Yes, it's up on the screen.
Yeah.
And you have there the minister of the FCT. Nyesom Wike, Deputy Speaker of the House, the Speaker of the House of Representatives. You have an array of ministers, and of course the commander of the Brigade of Guards, and everybody will be there. And then it comes back, and they do the same thing.
So
these are residents of Abuja. They have portfolios. They have things that they are doing, even in their private life. I mean, it's a night picture. Chelsea might be playing Champions League football at that time.
I agree. They could be with their families. Yeah, they could be with their families.
Where did we start? And I saw a picture of Cyril Ramaphosa. He came back from a trip abroad. President of South Africa, the retinue of aides, maybe 2 or 3 people, security.
So thank you.
And he went about his business.
Thank you. So the first thing you will understand about a lot of political appointees in Nigeria is that they do not understand the value of time. So when
the NSA too was there.
Yes, you do not need more than 3 or 4 persons.
I disagree.
You do not need, there's no ceremony. The president is traveling. What's the big deal about it? Let him go. And then when he returns, receive him. 2 or 3 persons can receive him. But you see, we love a lot of eye service. We want to prove that, yes, I'm in your good books. I believe in you. I trust
this
you.
is
You
giving
don't do
Daddy
that.
Oyoyo vibes.
That's what I wanted to say. I have
Is this your daddy? You want to,
I have a friend who says that when, her dad comes back from work, they would all go out to welcome daddy back home. Of course, daddy has been working hard all day, so everybody will go out to welcome daddy. So I think that is also a Nigerian tradition. It's part of our culture to honor our parents. It's even very scriptural. Honor, for those who are Christians, honor your father and your mother so that your days may be long.
Honor him
so
by
they are honoring the
your
president.
appointed.
But the president,
they have to go and say daddy.
He's the daddy of our nation.
Okay, well, daddy of our nation. Well, but we honestly shouldn't be be given to all of these ceremonies because it is you are wasting. See, time is money. So people don't understand this. You keep doing a lot of things that are immaterial, that are not really significant.
My concern is on the story. I mean, we're still staying with this Nigeria. You can also call in for those who want to drop a comment or two on some of the stories we've touched, and of course our in-house analyst, Abdul Latif as well, who has touched on some of these stories. NEC endorses renewed Hope economic plan to fast-track a 1 trillion naira economy.
Yeah.
I just want to ask, I don't know if it's out of the blue, it's also basically out of curiosity. I know the NEC it's a composite. You have the state governors, the ministers, and so on. We've hardly seen any headline that says NEC endorses this, asks presidents to review this, and redraws this, and so on. Why is it that it's always about approval, 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 approval? Is the NEC just always convening to approve?
Well, I wouldn't be too sure of why this is coming at this time, but I'm more interested in the 1 trillion economy. Most times when you hear big numbers, Nigerians are a little skeptical because we've been burnt. We've heard a lot of numbers in the past. What makes it look like there's some level of hope now is that we are seeing significant changes, shifts in the macroeconomics of this country. For example, you look at what is happening in the oil sector. It hasn't been that way in the past. It used to be lip service, but now we are seeing gradual improvement towards 3 million barrels per day. It's significant. It will drop, or it will boost the power of the naira in any case, improve our forex earnings, and give a lot of investors the confidence to come into play. That is just on the side. But for beyond that, NEC is supposed to be that body that oversees something very central to the running of this country. And so if they are approving or if they are applauding the president, well, it's within their rights.
Well, it's within their rights, but then again, let's flip to Daily Trust newspaper. I was thinking that the NEC would solve this issue that we have on the front page.
Okay.
Oh yes, it's screaming.
Daily Trust.
And look, it's going to happen.
Universities head for strike.
I can put a wager on it.
Oh, that's a serious
Universities head for strike.
Yeah,
I was expecting that. That's
should have been a very significant one.
Meets with NEC, convenes, agrees on 1 trillion economy, agrees to settle.
With the
yes. So for ASU, it's known to be a tradition for them to go on strike. But my question is, what is ASU asking for? Yesterday we saw the minister on air saying, there
wasn't an agreement.
There wasn't an agreement, and that's a pitiable thing to say because yes, it's a pitiable thing to say because every agreement that has been agreed on by previous government is binding on any future government.
Absolutely.
So even if it is 2009,
but he's saying in 2009 that wasn't even an agreement. That's what Dr. Alao says.
Well, whatever it is, as far as I am concerned, it's an agreement because both parties signed. The one that was not signed, I think, was the 2020 agreement. Whatever was done to make sure that students return to school, lecturers return to school, makes a lot of sense. So you can, sometimes based on trust, you can decide to say, I take you for your word, even without penning it down.
True.
But if you now say that it is because it has not been written, well, probably we'll return to the clips, the videos and all that. Even if it were not on video, the question is, why do you want lecturers to keep on asking for these things that are legally there?
Following the meeting with the UNILAG chapter of ASU yesterday, it looks like we're heading for strike.
Full blown.
He said
had a press
the
conference.
meetings, the series of meetings they've had have been unproductive, and you heard the minister's language, very dismissive. So. Students, ladies and gentlemen, we hate to break this to you.
Just to add to that,
it will take a miracle.
Yes, just to add to that,
right.
ASU had come out to say, parents, please don't fret, students get ready. They said they have to go into this because if they don't, it's going to ruin the chances of ensuring that every single child will have a good education. And they're saying, parents, just bear with us, that this is going to be a long stretch.
Serious
In other
implications.
words, it's looking like it's a showdown. And I'm worried. I'm worried because, one, there are approvals to fix the airport. There are approvals to fix the Third Mainland Bridge.
Yes.
There is a new approval to build motor parks in 6 geopolitical zones, which will be gulping over how many trillion.
Absolutely.
But what they are asking for is something that can be done one-off.
The future of
You know what someone said?
Absolutely.
Someone said that the money that should have been allocated to us is what they dashed Falcon and Tigers.
No,
these are two different things. I mean,
yeah, but priorities, I get.
Yeah, I get that's the truth. It's priorities.
Olive she shared this story with us that her first year in university, she spent,
About
there was an
7
ASU
months,
strike,
yeah.
7 months. Olive should have been a son by now, if not
I mean,
because
the strike. You know, every Nigerian goes to school knowing that you are going to spend 4 years plus X. X is undefined. So, and it is because people will have to always go on strike. But we can fix this thing once and for all.
No wonder there are approvals for private universities every day. Anyway, they put a moratorium
hold on
it.
that.
And
Okay.
there's an all-female university that is coming up soon.
on Tuskegee University.
Maybe I'll send my daughter to that.
That's
What's your motivation?
I don't want her to mix with bad boys.
No matter how much
But do you reckon that when she's out of that university, she's going to mix with the society where there are boys and there are girls?
Yeah, and the
And then what would
society of
she do?
New Zealand and Canada. And
What would she do then?
So how do you manage that?
Remember the theme song?
It's the same
The
society.
theme song that says, bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for
You
you?
should be raised in a godly way.
Okay.
All right, let's look at the Guardian newspaper. On the front page of the Guardian, big story there, bad for business. Surge in unruly fan conduct. March day violence plunge. NPFL in crisis. You can see see them there with like a mob. It looks like a mob, really. A photo of people running. Looks like they're holding sticks.
After the
there.
These are football hooligans, and football is known as the beautiful game. So
That unites people
why
together.
make
Fans
the
need
beautiful-
to
it's
really
terrible.
put their acts together.
Sometimes I think we just need to improve security. Anywhere there's a crowding, you should have to look at
Please, Olive, where did this happen?
You know, managing the crowds. That is the first thing, because sometimes you hear that when Nigerians converge in large numbers like this, you have accidents happening. But in this case, it is fan behavior where they are angry either at the referee or they're angry at the other the other club. Whatever happens,
just look
we
at
should
that
improve.
picture on the front page.
Yes, we should improve security on the pitch.
Feels so bad for that poor official being physically attacked by a fan.
the
Decisions
fans,
don't always have to go your way.
Right. I mean,
Quite barbaric.
so if you read that article, it shows like the different instances of fan misbehavior. Then you remember the one that happened fans of Paris Saint-Germain when they were looting.
After winning.
Exactly.
I mean, how do you win?
And then you go and start
that's why they will
burning
lose
vehicles. It
to a
was
club like
terrible.
Chelsea, in the finals.
Anyway, still on the front
moving
page.
on, please.
Moving
Faster.
on. Sorry, very quickly. Very quickly.
So that we don't talk about other clubs, eh?
Very quickly. Ethiopia to rank second in SSA urea production with Dangote's 3 MMT fertilizer plant. Federal government approves lifetime salary for retiring senior
We missed this one.
Okay.
Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo in a presentation made this statement and said that the president has approved a lifetime salary for retiring senior officers. So this includes Controller General and the like. So once they are done, they will
still get the same.
They will get salary
benefits.
until they decide to leave the earth, the surface of the earth.
Wow.
Guess what? On the other hand, while we just peep through the shades of your window or climb the fence, there's one Inspector General who is crippled and shouting, "Please pay me my pension of 15 years."
Inspector, rather.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you look to the left, you see an army fighter, if you put it that way, or a lieutenant who has been crippled by trying to save or secure the borders of Nigeria and is making clear that he hasn't received a dime just to cater to his health.
So sometimes when you see some of these approvals for you begin to wonder what's running the mind of the president. The people who do the real work are those with boots on the ground. And when they complain that they are not being treated fairly, the government needs to do something. I sometimes think that what these guys do is very intentional. You understaff the police, you under-remunerate the army, and you have a country with a ballooning population over 200 million. How do you not recruit more people, offer them better salaries, conditions of service, and ensure that they put in their best
instead of giving the head a lifetime
reward? It's a
big
upsetting.
story here
Okay.
that I think we missed earlier. NEC vows to revive refineries, shops for $60 billion to expand capacity. We spoke about the refineries earlier. Should they be sold? Are we still pumping money into an unproductive venture?
So the first thing is, before it is sold, explain to Nigerians how you spend
They're not
money.
even planning to sell it. They're not planning to sell it.
You have to sell it because you have to sell it because it is inefficient. It is a drain pipe. Consistently, government has shown that it is incapable of running the refineries.
Let's trust them with this.
We cannot trust them.
The leadership is different.
There is no way to trust the government. Government has no business in business. We keep telling people
they said they will revive it.
It's just a way of getting money out.
This is a conversation that we will take on another day because we have to go on a break. Entertainment is on standby. Thank you so much, Abdulatif, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We'll discuss the NNPC matter next week. But for now, we have entertainment. Stay with us.
Sam Dandy joins us this morning for Entertainment Roundup. What's good? Big Sam.
Looking fly and dandy as always.
Big Sam, not the little one.
We got to prepare for Canada,
But you know how much passport is now, right?
No worry, I don't do them already. I don't do 10 years.
Correct. Sharp guy.
Sharp guy.
Please don't be like all of us.
Wow.
That hurts me.
Well,
What's happening in the entertainment world?
It's popping. August is onto something. The All African Music Awards AFRIMA 2025 nominations dropped August 28th, and Burna Boy and Davido, of course, are leading the pack, of course, with like 5 nominations, including Album of the Year, Burna for No Sign of Weakness, Davido's 5, Song of the Year, and Best Collaboration. They were closely matched by South African DJs, Maforisa, and Morocco's El Gran Toto, who also earned 5 nods each. Now, rising Nigerian street pop sensation Shali Poppy claimed 4 nominations, and Tanzanian artist Diamond Platnumz and Juma Jukes 3 nods each, including Song of the Year for Lulufemi. Now, they all joined a diverse field of nominees representing Africa's rich music scene, and Nigeria will host the event from November the 25th to the 30th.
Wow,
I'm
nice.
excited about that.
AFRIMA is happening in Nigeria.
That's right.
I love
Trust me,
it.
be there, live in person.
Definitely. Hopefully, like I said, I'm not in Canada by then. Okay.
Wow.
Are you threatening us?
No. Of course, I'm going to be there for sure.
Okay.
Well, today, August 29, 2025, Nigerian superstar Tiwa Savage returned to the music scene with her 4th studio album, This One Is Personal, ending a 5-year hiatus from full-length releases. Now, the deeply intimate 15-track project was recorded across Nashville, London, and Lagos, featuring special collaborators including Skepta, Taves, and Grammy-nominated James Fauntleroy. Now, the album is produced by Vanessa, Maestro Sugar, and the queen of Afrobeats herself, Tiwa Tokwe Savage. Now, the album explores themes of pain, growth, and resilience, and has sparked enthusiasm for fans who love her music.
Tiwa is back. I mean, I'm a big fan of. And I like the album title. It's very personal.
Okay.
Yeah,
really personal.
Congratulations to Tiwa.
Do you think Nigerians listen to albums as a whole, though, or maybe once?
No. I mean, I do. It depends on the person.
No. I would say no.
I look forward to all of hosting us on a listening party.
It is. She's very artistic, by the way.
It is.
How many microphones?
A lot of the
Big
pain.
use ladder to climb this thing.
No,
Or they use a
graphics.
crane.
It's just graphics. You just sit on the first one, and then when they're editing in post-production,
Joe, you're wise.
they just
It's very. Tiwa is such a talent.
No,
She is.
She's
Incredible
got a beautiful voice, and we can't downplay the
I'm looking
importance
forward
that she.
to listening to the song with James Fauntleroy.
That would be good.
I mean, we can't downplay her contribution to Nigeria's music industry. So yeah, she's a queen.
I
in
like.
her own
Look
right,
at look
and
at
she
number
deserves it.
12, track 12. Will I run again? That's so political.
Well,
you know
just
those
to quickly
days-
plug in that Tiwa Savage did a song with Johnny Drill
That's right.
titled
Yeah.
Over the Moon, and that song is such
Is it
a
on the
vibe.
album?
It should be
No, it's
there.
not on the album.
It's not.
That's
It's
Johnny
not.
Drill's
It's
song.
Johnny Drill's
song. Okay.
Johnny Drill featured Tiwa Savage.
So they didn't have a duet
anyone who hasn't listened
agreement
to it,
as
should
well.
But people are talking about track number 4 though, with Skepta,
On the
and how
low.
good their
On the low.
chemistry is together.
Oh, it's really.
Sorry.
What's is it? Is there a
I thought
high
I
tempo
put
song
two hands,
or
no, I'm just
what's
being
the song like?
It sounds really good. And Skepta,
Okay.
the energy is giving like old R&B. It's
I'll
a vibe.
play it.
And then she was talking about sliding into Skepta's DMs to.
They did look good together. I'm not gonna lie.
I'll play on my way
Tiwa is a
home.
fine woman.
In
She
my
will look good
motorcar.
with anyone.
Ooh.
Really, she's a gorgeous woman.
All right, let's move from that one. More good news. Yesterday, August 28th, media personality Toke Makiwa joyfully announced the arrival of her first child, a baby girl named Yakira Eliana Olakiton Iyanuolua Ikeolua Adunola. I don't even know what they mean.
These
but
names are
gorgeous,
long.
gorgeous names. Now, sharing an emotional photo on her hands claps, the 40-year-old star described the birth as my miracle, expressing deep gratitude and faith, calling her daughter my purpose, my reason, my evidence, a heartfelt, faith-filled declaration of motherhood and answered prayers. Now, speaking about children, August the 24th, Nollywood star Iyabo Ojo shared the news that her daughter, Priscilla Ojo, and partner, Tanzanian singer Jua Jux, have welcomed their first child, a baby boy. So I guess Nollywood, or should I say entertainment, was celebrating baby boy and girl.
It's raining babies.
It's been raining babies
everywhere.
and pregnancies.
Those who want to catch it. Okay. Wow. Iyabo took to Instagram with a touching message and photo, proudly proclaiming herself the latest, sexiest grandma in town.
My
As she-
ovaries.
Now, recall the couple tied the knot in multiple ceremonies. The Islamic and civil wedding happened in February this year, traditional Yoruba wedding in April, and then concluded with a grand reception in Tanzania in May. We're super happy for them.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, it's good.
Celebration.
Congratulations to them, to all the expecting parents. There's also Worry Pikin. This year has been back to back for Nigerian celebrities.
Yeah.
There's Worry Pikin. There's Mercy Chinwo as
that's true.
well. Oh, and my own Ayo Myro essay. So there's
Are you
so
sure
many.
Nigeria's, but even me? Wow, yes. Are you sure Nigeria's population is not going to enter 1 billion this year?
Wow. We don't know about that. The island is full.
By the way, just to mention, NAFDAC put out a circular. Be careful. Post-drug, there's fake.
Oh, can be, you know,
wow,
can
they
be
will pregnancy. It will not work. It might
It
not
will
catch.
not work. They say it's not working.
They
That's
said they
why. Have you
imported
noticed?
fake Plan B medication.
That's why some men
emergency
are angry.
contraceptives.
They're driving angrily on the road. Why are you
It's
talking
good.
to me? You know?
Pregnancy fall on you.
It's true.
Babies
You
are
should even
blessed.
be having sex if you're not ready to have children.
And before-
And outside wedlock.
This is a good note for the
not.
weekend, though. So nobody
agree.
does anything they shouldn't
I
do.
second the motion.
And if you're in wedlock and you do it, anything you see, you take it.
You know, I've never seen who is more afraid of pregnancy than people inside marriage.
Oh my goodness. Let's go out Africa. Pop phenomenal Taylor Swift and NFL star Travis Kelce announced their engagement via a joint Instagram post on August 26th, captioned playfully, "Your English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married." Now, it was accompanied by, of course, romantic garden setting photos and, of course, the star of the show, a custom-designed, old-mine, brilliant cut diamond ring. The proposal reportedly occurred on August 10th at Kelsey's home in Lee Summit, Missouri. Now, Swift then made her first public appearance on August 28th at a college football game, debuting her ring. Now, the two confirmed dating back in October 2023, and fans are excited. In fact, I hear it had millions of likes already in only 1 hour. It's
You know,
Taylor
Taylor
Swift.
Swift has such a huge influence, you know. Even, I mean, Donald Trump, who has been referred to as someone who's criticized her in time past, also congratulated her when it was asked. The Swifties are a movement. And I think another thing that someone pointed out in this engagement was the fact that typically people always like to glamorize early marriage. And someone pointed out the fact that she's 35. She was allowed herself to thrive, grow in her career,
That's
and
right.
at her own time choose to get married to a partner who's also 35.
But why
so
is it
society
that
needs to chill, stop pressurizing people to get married
to each other? You look at Beyonce and Jay-Z.
Right, power couple.
So he's also an NFL star.
Yeah.
When are they going to meet ordinary people?
Oh, well,
that's harder.
It's a circle. It's where they hang out.
Where they meet.
Exactly.
But you have some actors who have decided to not go for celebrity.
It's not like they decided.
Yeah.
Is it not when you see partner you will marry?
I mean,
Let me ask you, as a celebrity yourself, is it easier to mingle with celebrities or with ordinary people?
I can't really answer because, first of all, I'm just a regular woman that is unmarried. When I see husband, I'll come back and answer you.
Celebrity or not?
Celebrity or not?
Sam Danny, thank you so much for bringing us entertainment.
Absolutely.
It's always a delight to have you wrap up the week with us. And as we wrap up the week, I want to give a super shout out to my auntie Oluwatoyin Olusonya Onodele as she turns a year older. I love you and happy birthday. And also to Damola. Damola he used to be part of us here. He was our makeup artist. He will always be a member of News Central, a member of the family. So congratulations,
Happy birthday,
Damola,
Damola.
House of Aphrodite, and happy birthday
We
to
miss you.
This is where we sign out. I'll be back again on Monday. Have a great weekend. I'm so excited. It's
Please
already
watch.
weekend.
Take care, guys. Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.